Hello everyone, today we're going to be starting a brand new series called What If Civilization Started Over? Quick disclaimer, this is a re-record of episode 1, just so that way it can be perfected for the mini-movie which will be coming out tomorrow. This is the second upload of Daily Upload Week, and I hope you guys like this video. Another quick disclaimer, this series is heavily inspired by the creator ADIZ Pro. He made the concept for this series, and you can find many other series like this one on YouTube. The core concept of this is civilization starting from one origin, and then others will emerge over time. Viewers can suggest ideas, but within realism, of course. But let's get straight into it. Humanity will start off in this little Omani coast, whatever it's called, and they're going to explore just a little bit. And this is a very small civilization. They don't know about the giant world around them. They only know about this little white area. And they're going to do a bit more exploring. They're going to go down this way. They're going to go around a little bit. And the reason that they're sticking to the coast is for fish, because that's like the only thing that they eat. But eventually we're going to see civilization spark up, and it's quickly going to just take over all of the explored lands in the world. After that, they're going to continue exploring, and they're going to set up their capital, which will be right where they all started. They're going to do more and more exploring, and they'll eventually reach around here and start seeing this northern coast. What? They're also going to explore down this way, and there's no conflict. It's just empty land besides this little area here. And there's an early stage population. I'm not going to say exactly what the population is because this is like your series. You guys can make the calls. But I'll say that they are around 100,000. I don't know if that's accurate for this time. I don't know. Red will only expand along the coast because, as I said before, fishing. And they're going to quickly have to start exploring a little bit more if they want more land to, have. But they go a little bit further inland now. I think this is the furthest inland they've ever gone. We're going to see some other major cities pop up. These aren't too populated. They're just kind of major. And also, just a quick disclaimer again, I'm sorry, but these major cities are probably not accurate to what's in the current episode, which is, at this point, episode 9. So, yeah, that's about it. Speaking of episode 9, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me down in the comments of this video or any video. But we're going to see another civilization form, and this civilization is not really liking this, northern expansion. Red hasn't expanded down south since they even had their capital, so they are going to go south. They're going to explore down south a little bit, and they're eventually going to make a settlement. This settlement is going to be right here, and they're going to also explore a little bit more. But now we have two civilizations on this map, and they really only have the Arabian Peninsula and coast. What? And this is not really the most desirable place to be. We got Europe to be in, we can be in, America, we could be in South America, the Darien Gap, Amazon rainforest, I don't know. But this little blue team over here is going to explore more, and eventually they'll reach down to this coast. They're going to see the Red Sea. This is the Red Sea. This is the Persian Gulf. They're going to see this area, and they're going to be like, is this a river or is it another sea? They're going to hop along here, and they're going to guess that it's a river, at least for now, because this little part here, it's really thin, but this is, in fact, a sea. Would it be a sea? It's called the Red Sea, so. But they're going to explore a little bit further inland, and they're also going to expand. So this small little country has reached this area, and this is where they have the most dense population. They're also going to explore a little bit further north, and for their capital city, they're going to place it right here. They also have some other major cities. They're right here and here. And these two, they don't really have any conflicts or anything. I don't think they can. There's nothing to conflict about, But this was a peaceful separation. They just didn't want to go north like red is. Instead, blue just wanted to stay south where it's really, really hot. Yeah. But blue is going to explore down the Somali coast, and they're going to make it pretty far until they have to come back. Actually, they're able to reach the Horn, so that's pretty good. But they're going to set up a little colony. I don't know if I would call this a colony, but there's going to be a little spot over here. inside of the Horn of Africa, and they're also going to explore a little bit further around this colony here, and once they're ready, they're going to set up another one right here, and these two colonies will meet up, and they are now in Africa. They're also going to set up a colony over here inside of the Horn of Africa, and this one quickly becomes the most populated. They explore a little bit further down south, and they also have to expand. We're going to see a major city pop up right here, and from all of the fishing in this like small little area here, they're going to discover this island. Moving back over to red, we're going to see them explore up to here, and they're going to find, well, Dubai. Obviously, Dubai doesn't really exist in this timeline, because that's artificially made. It would have sunk by now. And they're going to explore a little bit further inland, I don't know. And they're going to set up a colony up here. Red is going to set up a colony up here, and it's going to take over all of the UAE, and it's also going to reach over eventually and connect up with mainland red. Mainland? It's on the same land. I don't know. But it becomes really popular really fast, and we see two major cities pop up here. Turns out living on a peninsula is really, really good. I don't know if this is too realistic at the time, but also this probably hasn't really been established fully, but they're going to move their capital, and it's going to go up here to this first little major city, and this just turns into a major city. However, it is a very, very major city. From this little area right here, they're going to be able to reach over to here, where at Persian area, and they're going to be able to explore just a little bit, and eventually we're going to see a new little conflict happen. So after a bit of exploring, these explorers are going to set up a colony here, except it's not under red rule, and it is under this new country, green. Green is now a country, and we have 3 countries on this map. They're going to do some exploring up this Persian Gulfy area, and they're getting close to, like, the good stuff, you know? But obviously, since they don't know about that, they're not going to focus all their exploration up to here. Instead, they're going to focus it all around, and they're going to send some inland explorers. This is the furthest inland I think anyone has ever gone. They're also going to expand down eastward, explore, but they will expand down eastward as well, not too far. And they're going to expand a little bit to explore a little bit, After a bit more exploration happens in the west, because they're kind of done going east, they're going to reach they're going to reach Tigris, then they're going to reach Euphrates, and they're going to call the green government, go, hey, go up here. So green starts expanding up northward towards this Mesopotamian area, and they're also going to expand like this. They're going to go into this area, and for the sake of staying relevant to what episode 1 was, they're not going to follow the actual Euphrates and Tigris. Instead, we're going to have them follow what I thought Euphrates and Tigris was. Obviously, this isn't how it was. They go out this way. I'm sorry, I didn't know that, guys. But they're going to find this, and then they're going to claim this. Yeah, it's pretty simple. They're also going to expand down this way, and they claim all explored lands up here, and then they start just exploring around here. I'm not sure if the Caspian Sea is visible from right here, but we're going to say that it is, and they are going to find the Caspian and go, oh my god, we gotta expand up here too. And so they do. Green is also going to expand on their original land over here. I think these guys are the furthest inland that a country has gone. Oh yeah, definitely furthest inland. But like where their main area is, furthest inland, I think. It's time we do capital city for green, and it used to be here, but once they discovered not this, obviously it's this way, but whatever, they're going to place their capital city right here. So yeah. They're also going to have a few major cities around, for example, where their capital used to be, and also a few around this coast here. I don't know if this is too much or too little, but we're going to see a few happen over this way. I think this civilization is advanced enough to know how to do trade routes, so we're going to start up on a trade route. This trade route will start over here in blue, and it will go down through all of their major cities inside of the Yemen coast, and it's going to reach over to red over here. It's going to reach this southernmost major city, and it's going to go through all of these other major cities here. It's going to go up north and around, and it's going to meet over here, and then it's going to go up here. But it's at this point that this thing will split, and it will go up here, up north, and over here, as we also have trade routes going through all 3 of these major cities, and the next trade route will go through this way. And now we see it reach all the way up into Mesopotamia, and it will just zigzag its way through the major cities here. Now, is it dumb to have a completely open road to all your major cities in your most populated land? Probably pretty dumb. but that's irrelevant right now. In my opinion, I think red would benefit the most from these trade routes because they're the center of these trade routes. Like, there's green trading this way, and there's blue trading this way. So no matter what, if green wanted to trade with blue, they're going to have to go through red. And then if they want to trade with red, they're obviously just going to go to red, and vice versa with blue. I don't know if they're able to go this far at this time, but this is kind of enclosed water, technically enclosed. But we're going to see a sea route go through here, and it's going to reach around here and go into this major city. This is a little zigzaggedy. I know, that was on purpose. I'm not that shaky. But through these trade routes, red gets word of these Mesopotamian lands up here, and they're like, yo, I want a piece of that. So they're going to explore this way. I'm not sure what else they would do in this situation. They're also going to expand down this way. They're going to take all of Qatar, and they're going to continue exploring up north over here because they do know that this is a gulf here because, you know, you can see across the water. And also I bet there's been, like, trade from, like, this over to, like, trade like this, maybe not trade, but like this or something. So they do probably know that this is a gulf here, so they can know that eventually they'll reach up here. Hopefully, is what they're like, please, it better reach up there at some point. But this is going to expand further and further until you're like, yo, what's up, green? But they're going to go a little bit further inland with this exploring, and that will set up for a good pathway for them to expand. And this is going to be a very, very important moment in history. Two countries now border each other. Red is going to expand a little bit further inland, but their expansion is put to a halt because, well, they probably shouldn't be expanding this fast, this much, at such a young and prehistoric, I don't know if that's a good word to use in this situation, but prehistoric age. And another reason they're going to have to put this to a halt is because there's some settlers over here from blue. These blue settlers are going to go up this way, and they're going to go through red territory and pick up people all along these trade routes, and they're eventually going to reach the capital of red, and they're going to go through green, and they're going to pick up more and more people, as these people are all trying to go north because they know how hot it is down here, and they're picking up people, obviously from blue, but then they went through red and picked up people, and went through green to pick up people. And yes, it is true that people have noticed that it gets aggressively hotter from blue all the way up up here in northernmost green compared to up down here in southernmost blue. It is very, very big difference. This is colder, this is hotter. So they are making the assumption that it's really, really cold up north, and they want some cold stuff. But from here, they're going to explore up north, and they're not going to do much else. It's going to go through the Caspian over here, and they're going to follow this river. I'm not sure exactly where this river is, but we're going to say that it's right here. So this river is going to go through here, and they're eventually going to meet with the Black Sea, and they're going to be like, oh my god, there's an entire other sea. And they're going to quickly explore through all of this. And we're going to see the infamous Orange team show up as a new country here. I'm not sure if they originally looked like that, but they did do all of this in one go. That's one specific thing that I remember. And they are very, very big for this time, and they are very, very inland as well. And this is also the Caucasus Mountain area, so just keep that in mind. Obviously, these people can traverse mountains. They've discovered mountains before. I believe there's mountains over here where Euphrates and Tigris technically are, according to episode 1 me. And I don't know where else there would be maybe over here there's mountains, but they do know how to traverse mountains. They're not that dumb, and we'll see them slowly but surely grow in the next time. Quick power ranking: red is number 1, green is number 2, orange is number 3, and blue is number 4. Now that may seem a little weird to you. Obviously red is number 1. They were the first civilization, and they are the biggest and most prosperous civilization. Green has technically Mesopotamia. Orange, however, is stronger than blue because blue hasn't done jack poop this entire episode. So, yeah, blue has been really just like chill here, and I don't know if that would make them stronger than orange in a way, but in my opinion, it makes them weaker. At least for what's happening here. Just listen to me. Blue is weaker than green, okay? Yeah. But speaking of blue, we're going to see them expand a little bit. They're going to grab this island, and they're going to expand down this way and connect all their colonies. This is a very short separation. This is just a straight, so this will be good for them in the future if they don't fall apart. They're going to do a bit more exploration down here in the Horn of Africa. They're also going to go down this eastern coast a little bit, but they're going to have to stop because it gets a little bit hot. This is where the jungle starts. Like, I think here is the line. Also, they're at the equator right now, right? I think they're at the equator. But they're going to do much more expansion up north over here. They're not jumping over here. I'm just starting over there so that way I can drag it down. But they're going to explore, just like this. And now they'll expand. And honestly, at this point, blue is now stronger than orange. Orange is just a bunch of mountain dudes, you know? But since orange is, like, not so good because they're in mountains, it's not so nice. We're going to see some explorers do the exact same thing as how orange was formed, and they're going to leave orange, and instead they're going to go westward. There's mountains over here, but not up this far north, and also it's pretty easily traversable, I think, like compared to this. But we're going to have the discovery of Europe. I'm not sure where Europe starts, but just Europe is discovered. This little civilization here not civilization just yet, but they will explore all of this. They do find Crete. I'm not sure how they'll find Crete. You can make up a story for that in the comment section. But they also do explore over on this western Turkian coast. What? But they're going to form a nation here. There's little mountains right here. I don't think it's going to affect them too much, though. And we slowly but surely have our Greek Empire showing up. However, these guys aren't going to be Greek for long. Italy. I was signifying how they're going to become Roman soon because, like, Italy. But anyway, they're going to explore further and further and further. And they find Yugoslavia. That's pretty cool. But they're going to expand it just a little bit further. Yeah, I don't know what else they would do. They're going to explore more up this Balkan coast. And they're also going to expand up this Balkan coast. I'm not exactly sure where their capital is, so I'm just not going to place it yet. I think it's over here, but it also could be down here. It wouldn't make sense if it was up here just yet. So I don't know where it is. It could be here or here. I don't know. The capital of Orange, I believe, was it right over here. And we'll just slap purples right here. If that's not correct, don't yell at me. I'm sorry, I recorded this episode like 2 months ago, and I just decided to re-record it because just lore, okay? So if some of these things, major cities or capitals, just suddenly disappear next episode, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Orange is going to spend a lot of money and build a lot of major cities all along their coastlines, but they're also going to go inland a little bit. I don't know how well this would work out for them. This is like mountains right here. So yeah, we're going to see our trade network expand up north over here, and it's going to go like this a little bit, you know? We have some abstract art going on with these trade routes here. But this trade route will eventually reach all the way over here. I don't know if they could build these this quickly. I don't know. I'm sorry. But now this trade route runs all the way from purple all the way down to the Horn of Africa or Yemen. Last episode I said that red was getting a little jealous of green and their nice, fertile Mesopotamian lands. This jealousy may turn into our first conflicts, but first, let me talk about the map. The map is looking awfully gray and a little bit more complicated. As you can see, some parts are white, some parts are gray. What does this mean? The gray parts are unexplored and the white parts are explored. We also have provinces. It's kind of self-explanatory. It's kind of like the American states, or I guess counties. And each country will have their own provinces, and it will look really, really good eventually because it helps us with war. Speaking of war, we see red attack. They quickly go in and grab this province here and capture this major city, and are already threatening green's capital. You guys could have put this in any other city, yet you put it right here. I mean, if red hadn't have gone to war with them, this would have been great, but red's gone to war with them. As you can see, red attacking them in a little bit of a brighter color. That is just so you can see the borders. Now, obviously, there's no really war strategy. This is the first ever war. I wouldn't even call this a war. This is just a conflict. They want these lands here. But they go around the coast and siege the capital, but then capture it. And then they dash over here as fast as they can to try and block off green and cut them in two. Now, the thing about green is every single major city that they have has the ability to become their capital. These are their original cities. They've been built upon and they've been here for many years. And these are their Mesopotamian cities. They're very strong, fertile, and they're really great lands. So green is able to put up a good fight. and a fight green will put up. They quickly go in through the water and attack red, capturing their capital as fast as red captured theirs. They sprint down here and grab this major city before getting a little bit of backlash from red. Red decides to use this as an opportunity to go across the water. They land in this major city here and capture it and then expand down the coast just a bit. They also were able to push back in here and split these armies in two, capturing this major city back. But these guys, they are easily supplied by green, and they're obviously putting up a really good fight. Back over here in green's capital, we see green do a little bit of work on the front lines here. It's not going to be too useful, but it is a bit of work. Red, however, goes up here and gets this major city and makes this line here thicker. They also wrap around this a little bit and encircle some soldiers here. I'm not sure how many there are here. Probably like 1,000, maybe 10,000, something like that. But they're all killed. And next up, red will go for this major city. This one is a bit of a fight here. They have to go around these little armies here, and it's very hard, and they are kind of challenged here. In the meantime, they will send soldiers up this way to go to this major city already. They do capture this one because these guys are working over here, and they decide that this is a good way for them to just send a bit of a diversion to go behind the city. And this diversion really, really works. This is what gets this major city captured, and there's a lot of people in this little green area. So this is a lot of the population of the army. They make their line here thicker, and we see them get pushed further down here. Red will pull their front out from here, giving green this land back, and green will continue to try and forge a little bit further forward, but it will be unsuccessful as red actually captures about half of their capital back. As you can see, this is about half of the capital. They go through here and get rid of these guys and eventually just fully reclaim their capital. Stepping away from this conflict a little bit, we go over to Orange and look at these provinces. They have too many major cities and not enough of a population to handle all of that. These guys are about to collapse. And when I say collapse, I mean collapse. As we can see, orange is split into 4 different countries: lime, maroon, orange, and pink. The most strong out of all of these, I will not tell you. However, I will tell you the weakest. Orange. Lime is the smallest, followed by pink did get the most stable lands and orange's previous capital. Orange's capital went up here. And regarding limes and maroons, they are right here and right here. There will be some more exploration down into here, and people inside of the Arabian Desert have made it much further than they ever have. Heading back over to red, we can see that red and green are not the only countries in this war. Pink joins. These guys are the most stable, and they are really needing some better, fertile lands, aka Mesopotamia. They send 2 spearheads down towards green, which after only just a little bit of time, reach green and their borders. Once reaching the borders and scouting a little bit to see how many troops they are facing, they bring the rest of their army. Obviously not the rest of their army, there's still some people here to defend, but most of their offensive army is here. They're going to go down here quickly and grab this major city, and remember, this was the western spearhead, and the eastern spearhead will go down the side here, just so that way they can grab this major city. Now here's the problem. Green has no more major cities in the Mesopotamian area, and if they wanted to get troops there, they're going to have to go around red troops, which are already here guarding this area, so it is practically impossible for them to get troops into this area, unless you go through unknown territory. Green sends a lot of troops down into these uncharted territories to go chart them out and just get them into an area that they are going to be useful. They're going to quickly spear around here, and this is a really, really long spearhead, as you can see. However, the only problem with them being here is, well, it's uncharted territories. So that means that this will happen. Green has no idea what's happening here, so people are going around in circles, breaking away to try and figure out where they went because, well, something happened here because they got lost, and then there are people here, here, all around this area now, and none of them know where to go. These guys here, these 2, they have the correct trajectory. However, only one of them will end up going the correct way. The only problem is lots of them are dying out because there's no food. So their army is just depleting in size. But hey, at least now they have an army. They go into these pink army here and immediately get fully wiped out. And the rest of these troops here also all get wiped out. Not all of them are wiped out. Some of them do end up finding each other. I'm gonna say like right here is where they all found each other, and well, they kind of just all came back eventually after long amounts of time was put together to find search parties, and after this, they kind of just all went back, going down this southern-ish route. Pink continues their attacks, eventually encircling all of these troops. This isn't a true encirclement, it's just like they were going here and now all of these troops are dead. You may or may not have noticed that these guys are kind of aiming to destroy these trade routes, or at least take control over them. It creates an easy pathway to get to the next city. Pink will follow down here to get through this trade route, and Red will actually cooperate with them and figure out what they're trying to do. Meet in the center. Now green is split into 3 different pieces. After red quickly sweeps through here, pink does the same. Green surrenders. Let's take one last look at these borders here, and now let's look at the peace treaty. This is what the new map looks like. As you can see, pink and red pretty much evenly divided the Mesopotamian lands. Pink obviously got less because if they grabbed too much, they would likely fall apart, and also red did a little bit more than them. Red did have military claims all the way down to here. However, they didn't want anything past the Mesopotamian lands right here. So they let Green keep this. Green takes their capital, which was originally here, and moves it back to where it used to be. And this is scary. This year, this is not good. You may have noticed that Pink doesn't have connected lands, and they are about to change that. Pink is now looking a little bit more connected, and with all of this new land, it means a lot of new major cities. And Pink adds all of these new major cities, and these ones aren't really that strong yet. However, they will grow to be very prosperous because, well, look at these locations. Like this is great. Moving into Europe, Purple is going to start working on exploring and expanding. Pink expands a lot. They really only stop once they hear what happened to Orange. And to prevent this from happening to them, they get a new country to form above them. Also, just quick little by the way, I have already recorded this episode fully. I've also already fully recorded episode 3, but these files were lost and corrupted, sadly. So, yes, most of this is already done, which is why it looks a little bit weird over here in this region with these undrawn providences, weird borders, not explored areas, and yeah, it'll all make sense soon. These are the providences and exploration rates. As you can see over here, there's a big gray hole. This is the Alps. Otherwise, Cyan was actually created very stably. They have a very good land. And major city wise, whoa, that's a lot of new major cities. However, these are all done very wisely. Both Cyan and Purple are aware of what happened to Orange, and they're both working to prevent that. So they built these with that in mind. We can see a lot further exploration into the Arabian desert. And actually, this is on the northern side this time. And they explore down the coast here, leaving only this small area in the center left to explore. And trade routes wise, over the entire episode, all of this was created. Whoa. Alright, let's talk about this. Purple and Cyan worked together to create almost a highway system throughout their countries. We see a connection through northern Turkey to the Orange descendants, where it connects all throughout here. In pink, they kind of pass over these major cities here. However, it's not that bad. We see a lot of new water highways between green and red after the war ended. Red and green's capitals are looking very, very good trade-wise. People are getting a little bit more comfortable going through these Saudi Arabian areas, and blue has officially finished up their trade routes. Over here in the red and blue region, we see a lot of the trade route is actually not inside of their region. Maybe in the next episode, we see them expand out to here, or maybe in the episode after that, or after that. We'll never know. Also, regarding the lost soldiers, I removed their exploration here because no one else besides them knew about it. They didn't even get to report back to these guys in green because they were immediately shipped back up here. Today, we'll be starting off in green, and we'll watch them as they explore into Asia. Green sends explorers and settlers into Asia, and they explore down the coastline. They're trying to wrap around the coastline as much as they can. And they end up exploring most of the Indian Peninsula and Sri Lanka. I said there were settlers, and let's see what they settle. India is fully set up with 5 major cities, one of them being their capital, and as you can see, they're pretty dang stable. Moving away from Asia, Lime is looking for some new land, and where are they going to go? Well, they're going to go to the weakest country, of course. Using their navy, they're going to leave their capital and head on down here to this major city. But Maroon here thinks that Lime was trying to attack them, when really they were just going for this major city here, which they just captured. However, they're going to have to pull their troops out in just a second because Lime just dashed in here and grabbed this major city. And they went down here and grabbed this major city that they had just captured, and their navy is going to have to flee. After bringing their navy back, they're going to bring them back around and go into the capital. Lime is going to defend their major city, and it will be pretty close here, but in the end, they'll end up kicking Maroon out of their territory. But just before they get their army ready to leave, it's happening. A new rebellion has started up in Orange, and they've lost their northern territory, including their capital. Dark Blue is going to keep their capital in the same spot, but Orange is going to have to find a new spot for their capital, and they're going to put their capital right here. Maroon immediately declares peace with Lime as soon as they hear about this, so Lime is going to have to pull their navy out of where their capital was. Lime wants a piece of Orange, however, they have no way of getting to Orange, so for now they're just going to sit here and scheme. But in the meantime, Orange will get jumped by all three countries here. That includes Dark Blue, Maroon, and Pink. Pink will be the first to move, immediately sieging and capturing the new capital. They're going to move forward along the coastline, capturing this major city, and then they're going to just expand what they have. They fully capture this province, and then Dark Blue starts up by moving around. Now, I know it said that there's no major cities here, but there is a bunch of farms, military bases, and they are in fact doing a lot of work, even though it doesn't really look like they are. Dark Blue's captured 2 provinces and 2 half provinces, and they're going to continue down south. They capture 1 province right here, but then Maroon is going to capture the rest of this land down here. And now Orange is without any major cities or land. So after the quick jumping of Orange, let's look at this peace treaty. This is what the peace treaty looked like, and Maroon takes these southern provinces, Pink takes the capital and some provinces over here, which were actually split between these two because they kind of did equal work over here, and then Dark Blue is given their freedom. Let's say goodbye to this guy. And now Orange is the first ever country to be wiped off of the map. Lime is almost enraged about how they didn't get to do anything during the war, so they will seek lands further north. After exploration around the area, Lime decided to expand through here because it was the best area they could expand into. Going back over to Green, we're going to see some expansion and exploration by them, and the same happens with Pink. Green is going to start off by exploring further and further into Iraq, and this is where the Lost Soldiers were last time, so I guess it's been explored now. After exploring all of this land, they realized that the Caspian Sea is a sea, so they do expand and look around the rest of it, and end up finding out that it is a full circular, Caspian Sea-shaped sea. And Green will take all of this land, and I know this may look like a lot of land, but Green has been waiting for a while to start expanding, and they've only started expanding now because they are ready. This is what Green looks like after we add in the new provinces and major cities. As you can see, they are nowhere close to how stable purple is, and they are nowhere close to how stable orange is. They're kind of in the middle there. Most of this new land is just a country. It's got farms, major cities here and there, and really that's just all that's there. The next people to expand is none other than Pink. After learning that the Caspian Sea is sea, they're going to expand to go beneath it so that way Green can't go and grab it. Pink is going to take this area and this area, filling in around the Caspian Sea just a little bit. And this is what all of the new provinces and major cities look like. As you can see, we have 3 major cities next to the border of Green. And this is what the provinces and major cities of the new Pink lands look like. As you can see, Pink has 3 major cities that are next to Orange. As you can see, Pink has 3 major cities that are right next to Green. I'm sure at this point in these 3 major cities won't be too bad in the future. Going back down into the Saudi Arabian desert, Blue and Red fund a project for them to finish the exploration of the Saudi Arabian desert, which goes successfully. They also explore a little bit more into the Jordan area and are maybe going to start exploring through the Sinai Peninsula in northern Egypt here soon. Blue expands further down the Somalian coast and claims this island for themselves. And this is what the new provinces and major cities look like here. Red is going to fund expansion into the Saudi Arabian desert, so that way they can hold land where the trade routes are. And this is what it looks like for Red after expanding down into here. And this is what it looks like with trade routes on. Only this small area doesn't have anything, and that's because Blue is about to expand. This is what Blue's new expansion and provinces and major cities look like. Cool little thing here, some provinces are formed along these trade route roads with major cities right next to them. Moving into Europe, we see funds by Purple and Cyan to further explore into Europe. They explore in 3 different ways. One down here, the second way is right up here, and the third way is right up here. These guys explore down here and end up crossing through here so they can reach the Atlantic Ocean. They explore up here at the top of Spain until they reach the corner. At the corner, they explore south a little bit and then start filling in over here, mapping out the area. Over here in this French one, they explore up north. Same with this French one, except they explore out west or northwest. And then this German one explores north. The explorers in Iberia send the memo back to Purple, letting them know that the lands here are good and they should send major exploration units into these areas. And if you couldn't already tell, Purple and Cyan do put a lot of funding into exploring. So much so that they end up settling 3 new civilizations. This yellow one down here inside of the Iberian Peninsula, this brown French one, and this turquoise German one. And their capitals are here, here, and here. In the meantime, while they're still getting a little bit of funding, they're going to go and explore a little bit into England, which they have sailed around before, but haven't actually touched foot inside of it yet. They also start construction on trade routes going into these different countries. They spend a little bit more of their funding with Red to explore further into Africa. Red does their work around Egypt, and Purple will do their work around Carthage and Libya. Red will explore into the Sinai Peninsula, eventually discovering the Nile and exploring down this way. They keep on exploring down here, and then eventually they end up finding Blue. A major city is set up over here by the Nile, but no country lives here just yet. Pink isn't working with Red or Purple, but they will explore into the Turkish region, finishing off all of these mountains and also exploring Cyprus. Cyan will do their own funding to explore further into the Alps. As you can see, the unexplored regions inside of the Alps are getting smaller and smaller. Red did their part of exploring Egypt, now it's Purple's turn. They will land in the Carthage area and they will start exploring around here. They finish off exploring over here, and in their Greece region, they will send explorers down into Libya. They finish off exploring over here, and inside of their Greece region, they will send explorers down into Libya. Purple's explorers will eventually end up finding the Nile themselves, and they will start exploring further and further around the coast. Purple will take their capital, and they will move it onto the tip of the boot over here. Cyan will sell a few provinces over to Purple as they need the money. This doesn't mean that they're collapsing or anything, it's just they need a bit more money for what they're going to be doing later. Moving out from this region, we go into the newly established Europe, and we see that there's already tensions. France accuses Germany of stealing their cows, and they're going to go to war over it. France will use this major city here as an outlet to go and attack. They will go and attack up the coast, going through the Netherlands, and then eventually reaching their border. At the border here, they'll push in and eventually capture one capital and start sieging the other. Germany isn't this bad at war. They were just preparing their army, and now that their army is ready, they're going to go fight back. Germany must have gotten a lot of the military because they are absolutely annihilating the French right now. And they're about to meet them at the border, and now they're met at the border. They're going to go in and immediately capture this major city, which did have a lot of their military supplies. They're going to go down the coast and capture this major city and go after this one and this one. They encircle a bunch of troops over here, and they sweep through the farmland here, probably setting a bunch of farms on fire. They're going to start putting siege to this city, and also work on encircling these troops over here, which is successful, and they're going to raid some more farmland. As you can see, the French are probably losing this. But let's take a break from over here and go down into India to see what they're doing. Alright, that's cool. As we can see, India is exploring and also building up their cities here. They gain a few major cities around the area and also build up their trade routes now. They're aiming to get a water trade route with red and a land trade route with green. After that short intermission, we're going to go straight back into Europe. The French are going to start pushing back, and they're going to be able to claim this major city back and get rid of the siege that is happening over here. They're going to go around the coast, claiming this city back, and they're going to start pushing up here to get this one back. This city at the edge of their lands is the most important city because it has all of their military supplies. While they're doing that, they're going to continue further up this coast, claiming this major city back and encircling some troops. This is like tens of thousands of troops here, and they kill them all. That is the major turning point in this war, killing all of those troops there. Germany loses all of those troops and is immediately pushed out of French territory. The French are pushing back, and they go all the way up here. They are threatening the Germans again by getting closer and closer to their border until eventually a major city is captured. And after this major city is captured, this major city is captured. And after taking this major city, everyone here is encircled and killed or brought back as prisoners of war. The French continue their attack by splitting into a few pieces. Some go down here going for this major city, and some go up north aiming for the capital. We're going to follow this group that's going up north. They're sneakily circling around the coast, and some people are going to go down here and circling these troops here, but I don't think there are any troops here. That's just like farmland. Yeah, that's just farmland there. It's the middle of the night right now, and the Germans are hiding over, sleeping inside of their tents or their forts inside of this major city. In the silence of the night, the French are going to sneak over here and cross the river. And without a trace, they're going to completely take over this city and kill all of the Germans inside. The French down here are going to get pushed all the way back to this major city. There's a big battle here, and the Germans end up winning it, taking back this major city. However, just soon enough, the French are going to be able to take it back because the Germans are going to need to go defend their capital, which is currently being sieged. The Germans are going to try and put up a fight and form a spearhead to go down here, but it has failed and troops are encircled once again and killed. The French are going to expand up here and capture the capital. The Germans only surrendered now, and let's look at this peace treaty. Since the Germans are the losers in this war, they're going to lose 6 provinces and 2 major cities. The French ask for money from Purple and get that money so that way they can expand to connect these 2 places. The French gain all of this land and a few more major cities. This is the biggest province and it's mostly country and farms. The Spanish are going to finish off their exploration in the Iberian Peninsula and start moving down into Morocco. They explore all of this and also set up some new colonies here. The Spanish will gain all of this land and have major cities right here, 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 and here. And now let's do a quick update of all of the trade routes. The European trade routes will expand a little bit, but not far enough, and the European countries will actually start making their own trade routes. And these are what the world trade routes look like. The biggest water trade route is right here through India, green, and red. There's a new island trade route between blue and red, and much further into the desert. The major city right here is now connected through trade routes by blue and purple. The trade routes into Europe have gone further to try and connect them into Asia, but in the meantime, they've built their own trade routes. Spain goes through their land, and French and Germany go through each other's land. The French and the Spanish will eventually connect each other, but not just yet. We will also have a trade route going through here. Actually, no, we don't. I know right here, these are all mountains, but just trust me, it makes sense, okay? And just saying this right now, there's no more tensions between pink, red, and then green. Pink and red didn't have any tensions, but they had tensions with green. But those are dissolved after pink and red got their Mesopotamian lands like they wanted. And before we finish off the episode, we see the Spanish drop off some supplies here and start setting up a colony. We're going to see them build upon this in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to tune into the next episode. In this episode, we saw India be founded, Orange collapse, major expansion, settlements and wars in Europe, exploration into Africa, and a lot of funding for a bunch of different types of stuff. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this episode. It was a lot of fun to film, and I hope that you guys could tune in the next episodes. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down any ideas that you have, and until next time, see ya. To Asia, but in the meantime, they've built their own trade routes. Spain goes through their land, and French and Germany go through each other's land. The French and the Spanish will eventually connect each other, but not just yet. We will also have a trade route going through here. Actually, no, we don't. I know right here, these are all mountains, but just trust me, it makes sense, okay? And just saying this right now, there's no more tensions between pink, red, and then green. Pink and red didn't have any tensions, but they had tensions with green. But those are dissolved after pink and red got their Mesopotamian lands like they wanted. And before we finish off the episode, we see the Spanish drop off some supplies here and start setting up a colony. We're going to see them build upon this in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to tune into the next episode. In this episode, we saw India be founded, Orange collapse, major expansion, settlements and wars in Europe, exploration into Africa, and a lot of funding for a bunch of different types of stuff. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this episode. It was a lot of fun to film, and I hope that you guys could tune in the next episodes. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down any ideas that you have, and until next time, see ya. And if you couldn't already tell, Purple and Cyan do put a lot of funding into exploring. So much so that they end up settling 3 new civilizations. This yellow one down here inside of the Iberian Peninsula, this brown French one, and this turquoise German one. and their capitals are here, here, and here. In the meantime, while they're still getting a little bit of funding, they're going to go and explore a little bit into England, which they have sailed around before, but haven't actually touched foot inside of it yet. They also start construction on trade routes going into these different countries. They spend a little bit more of their funding with Red to explore further into Africa. Red does their work around Egypt, and Purple will do their work around Carthage and Libya. Red will explore into the Sinai Peninsula, eventually discovering the Nile and exploring down this way. They keep on exploring down here, and then eventually they end up finding Blue. A major city is set up over here by the Nile, but no country lives here just yet. Pink isn't working with Red or Purple, but they will explore into the Turkish region, finishing off all of these mountains and also exploring Cyprus. Cyan will do their own funding to explore further into the Alps. As you can see, the unexplored regions inside of the Alps are getting smaller and smaller. Red did their part of exploring Egypt, now it's Purple's turn. They will land in the Carthage area and they will start exploring around here. They finish off exploring over here, and in their Greece region, they will send explorers down into Libya. They finish off exploring over here, and inside of their Greece region, they will send explorers down into Libya. Purple's explorers will eventually end up finding the Nile themselves, and they will start exploring further and further around the coast. Purple will take their capital, and they will move it onto the tip of the boot over here. Cyan will sell a few providences over to Purple as they need the money. This doesn't mean that they're collapsing or anything, it's just they need a bit more money for what they're going to be doing later. Moving out from this region, we go into the newly established Europe, and we see that there's already tensions. France accuses Germany of stealing their cows, and they're going to go to war over it. France will use this major city here as an outlet to go and attack. They will go and attack up the coast, going through the Netherlands, and then eventually reaching their border. At the border here, they'll push in and eventually capture one capital and start sieging the other. Germany isn't this bad at war. They were just preparing their army, and now that their army is ready, they're going to go fight back. Germany must have gotten a lot of the military because they are absolutely annihilating the French right now. And they're about to meet them at the border, and now they're met at the border. They're going to go in and immediately capture this major city, which did have a lot of their military supplies. They're going to go down the coast and capture this major city and go after this one and this one. They encircle a bunch of troops over here, and they sweep through the farmland here, probably setting a bunch of farms on fire. They're going to start putting siege to this city, and also work on encircling these troops over here, which is successful, and they're going to raid some more farmland. As you can see, the French are probably losing this. But let's take a break from over here and go down into India to see what they're doing. Alright, that's cool. As we can see, India is exploring and also building up their cities here. They gain a few major cities around the area and also build up their trade routes now. They're aiming to get a water trade route with red and a land trade route with green. After that short intermission, we're going to go straight back into Europe. The French are going to start pushing back, and they're going to be able to claim this major city back and get rid of the siege that is happening over here. They're going to go around the coast, claiming this city back, and they're going to start pushing up here to get this one back. This city at the edge of their lands is the most important city because it has all of their military supplies. While they're doing that, they're going to continue further up this coast, claiming this major city back and encircling some troops. This is like tens of thousands of troops here, and they kill them all. That is the major turning point in this war, killing all of those troops there. Germany loses all of those troops and is immediately pushed out of French territory. The French are pushing back, and they go all the way up here. They are threatening the Germans again by getting closer and closer to their border until eventually a major city is captured. And after this major city is captured, this major city is captured. And after taking this major city, everyone here is encircled and killed or brought back as prisoners of war. The French continue their attack by splitting into a few pieces. Some go down here going for this major city, and some go up north aiming for the capital. We're going to follow this group that's going up north. They're sneakily circling around the coast, and some people are going to go down here and circling these troops here, but I don't think there are any troops here. That's just like farmland. Yeah, that's just farmland there. It's the middle of the night right now, and the Germans are hiding over, sleeping inside of their tents or their forts inside of this major city. In the silence of the night, the French are going to sneak over here and cross the river. And without a trace, they're going to completely take over this city and kill all of the Germans inside. The French down here are going to get pushed all the way back to this major city. There's a big battle here, and the Germans end up winning it, taking back this major city. However, just soon enough, the French are going to be able to take it back because the Germans are going to need to go defend their capital, which is currently being sieged. The Germans are going to try and put up a fight and form a spearhead to go down here, but it has failed and troops are encircled once again and killed. The French are going to expand up here and capture the capital. The Germans only surrendered now, and let's look at this peace treaty. Since the Germans are the losers in this war, they're going to lose 6 provinces and 2 major cities. The French ask for money from Purple and get that money so that way they can expand to connect these 2 places. The French gain all of this land and a few more major cities. This is the biggest province and it's mostly country and farms. The Spanish are going to finish off their exploration in the Iberian Peninsula and start moving down into Morocco. They explore all of this and also set up some new colonies here. The Spanish will gain all of this land and have major cities right here, 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 and here. And now let's do a quick update of all of the trade routes. The European trade routes will expand a little bit, but not far enough, and the European countries will actually start making their own trade routes. And these are what the world trade routes look like. The biggest water trade route is right here through India, green, and red. There's a new island trade route between blue and red, and much further into the desert. The major city right here is now connected through trade routes by blue and purple. The trade routes into Europe have gone further to try and connect them into Asia, but in the meantime, they've built their own trade routes. Spain goes through their land, and French and Germany go through each other's land. The French and the Spanish will eventually connect each other, but not just yet. We will also have a trade route going through here. Actually, no, we don't. I know right here, these are all mountains, but just trust me, it makes sense, okay? And just saying this right now, there's no more tensions between pink, red, and then green. Pink and red didn't have any tensions, but they had tensions with green. But those are dissolved after pink and red got their Mesopotamian lands like they wanted. And before we finish off the episode, we see the Spanish drop off some supplies here and start setting up a colony. We're going to see them build upon this in the next episode. I'm going to start off with a few fixing of errors. These small islands here should have been explored, and the Alps are more right here than over here. And because of the maritime waters, this should have been explored here. But now, let's begin. We're going to start up here in Europe, specifically over in this region. France is currently working on stabilizing its new territories, and Germany is completely humiliated. France and Spain are going to start this new trade route together, and this lime green here means that it's being worked on, and if you were to have watched episode 3.5, you would know what that means. This small trade route here is going to end up connecting with this one, and this trade route here is almost done. This one will start to wrap around the Alps and go up north a little bit, but that's all they'll do. Moving out of Europe, we're going to go into Africa. And if you remember in episode 3, I had this new kind of major city nation, but not really a nation form. They don't actually have a country yet, they just have this small major city. And this Nile area isn't able to turn into a country because of this reason. Their trade route area is full of bandits and it's very unsafe here. This trade route comes from purple and blue, and they're going to give their best efforts to fund the finishing of this, and eventually they're going to be able to kick out all of the bandits, and they're going to be able to finish this route. This route is now finished, and with it finishing, we can see the new country form. With that, we see the Nile nation forming, a bit of exploration down here, and we're also going to pretend that this major city was never here, but it was here. But since this is their only major city right now, it will become their capital. I'm also moving this trade route from here to here. But for now, we'll see these major cities form, these major military bases, these trade routes, and these provinces. Back inside of Europe, we see that purple is going to stop funding all of these brand new European countries. France and Germany start slowing down on all of their work because they have to build up their own economy without purple's help. But Spain will not stop their usual tasks. They're going to continue working on fixing the bandit problem here and finishing off this trade route. The first thing that we see happening is Spain finishing up this trade route, and they're going to slowly but surely fix up all the stuff here. Spain is going to slowly but surely work on fixing up these bandit problems over here. They're going to make it pretty far, but then Spain goes bankrupt. And in doing so, they lose both of their colonies. The one in Morocco gains its independence, and the English one gains its independence and expands a little bit. But Spain here is not going to let that slide, and these colonies are going to have to fight for their independence. And just like that, we're going to see our first ever Revolutionary War. Spain is the first to mobilize their military, sending them down the Iberian Peninsula until they reach the Strait of Gibraltar, I want to say. And they're already threatening the capital of Morocco. They're going to hop right over the Strait of Gibraltar and reach inside of Morocco, capturing their capital. They're going to move down the trade route here and capture this major city and then hop to this one. The thing about a Revolutionary War is that Spain already knows where all of these major military bases are, so just like that, they were able to immediately capture 4. But you can't forget about the maritime waters. Morocco took a lot of the maritime waters, and teeny-weeny England took only a little bit. But anyway, these maritime waters are going to help Morocco take their land back. Their navy is mobilized, and they immediately take back their capital. Eventually, military forces from these 2 major military bases are able to mobilize and start fighting back against Spain. They're going to push back a little bit right here, but they're able to take this major military base back. And just like that, they're going to shoot up north, taking this major city back. After that, they're able to get rid of all these troops here, taking back 1 major city and 2 major military bases. And that will dissolve the rest of the army here. Morocco will now leave their land and go into the places where Spain has their military, and they're going to start fighting back, and we're going to see that Spain asks for peace. Nothing too crazy about this peace treaty. Morocco just gets their independence back, and their capital's right here. And Spain doesn't really care enough to go and try and fight England, so they just automatically get their independence. But that adds 3 new countries to the map. Heading back into the old world, we see a big bandit problem here in this small island. I don't know what it's called. But Blue is looking to resolve it. Clearly, Blue didn't do it fast enough because now there's a rebellion. Surely this rebellion won't get too powerful. Oh. Well, clearly these bandits are popping up everywhere in Blue territory, and they are going to have to fix this. These guys are basically early terrorists, I guess. But Blue is going to beg for the aid of Red. And just like that, we're going to see our first ever military alliance form. Red's going to push back into Old Blue territory, take back this major city, and go down the coastline to take back this one. However, this bandit rebellion is going to cut these guys in 2 and take this major city back. Red's going to start a counteroffensive and go back around in a different way, completely encircling them around Blue and taking this major city back and killing the rest of them off. Blue's going to touch up inside of here, but it's immediately pushed back by these guys, and then they go and capture Blue's capital and a few major military bases and major cities around the area. Red's going to try and push in and liberate these areas, and they're able to take back a major military base and a major city, but for now they can't do much more. They're going to hop into the Horn of Africa and take this major city back and this major military base. They're going to jump over here, take this major city back, and they're also going to hop over here to start fighting around this area. This part is aiming to split the country in 2, and they're going to go down here just a little bit. They're also going to make the landing in where this originated and take this entire island. Blue's going to push back into this area and just sweep through a little bit, but they're not going to make it too far, and this is also red troops. It's just like a mixture. The rebellious group is going to push back and take back this major military base and shoot up here to grab this major city, but it is very well defended, and there is a big battle, but eventually the rebellious group takes it. Red and Blue troops are going to work even harder over here, taking back this major military base and pushing down this eastern side. They're going to take back this major military base and make it towards the capital and eventually take it back. They're going to work harder and harder on dissolving these guys, and they're going to just go around them like this. They're also going to push from the other side and take back this major city and encircle them, and one by one they are slowly killed off until they're all gone. Back inside of the Horn of Africa, they successfully split them in 2, capture this major city, and work on splitting them in 2 again. This one is also successful, and they go down south, capturing this area. They also start working on the encirclement of these guys, and do another small encirclement right here, getting rid of these ones. The rebellious group is going to push back and take back this major city, and they're going to do the same with this major military base, and work on getting up here, but then they're stopped completely. The entire Horn of Africa is pretty much cleansed, and they're going to continue working on trying to get rid of the rest of these guys. Red's army is going to get pushed back a little bit here, and only after a few hours can they push back once again, taking more land than they did before. They're going to aim to split these guys in 2, and they will just barely make it. They're going to get pushed out of their country, and they are going to be just scrambling outside. Red is able to get rid of all of them, though, and then they will pull their military out of this area because they don't want them there. Red will make a sweeping campaign all throughout this small land area, and it's successful. There's a big fight right up here, and Red is able to get rid of them, although with a cost of a bunch of troops. Blue has successfully gotten rid of all of these guys on their northern area, and just for reference, they put their capital right here. Blue's going to push in, take this major city and this major military base, and they're going to go down south seeping to go around the capital. They'll encircle it and take it over. This is the end of this rebellious group, and that's because they have no more major cities or major military bases, and they're going to capitulate over to red and blue. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. Pretty obviously, blue will get all of their land back, and red is not going to ask for anything else. We can get rid of this little problem here, and as you can tell, all of the problems with the trade routes around the world are slowly dissolving. With the first ever military alliance forming, we're going to have a new candidate to join. India is going to be joining this military alliance, forming a bigger one with now 3 members. With the new military alliance, we're also going to gain a new economic alliance, and that will be an economic alliance between purple and red. For now, purple is going to refrain from joining the military alliance, however, they do plan on joining in the future, potentially. Speaking of purple, we're going to see them finally finish off their exploration in Africa, or at least the northern coast, because I don't think anyone of this time can go south of that. But it will look like this, and they will also finish off their maritime waters. And with that, they will also move into Africa. They're gonna explore a little bit further into the northern coast of Africa, just so that way I have more freedom of drawing the borders. Just in case you were wondering, this is what it's like to draw providences. Woohoo! I usually just draw random squiggly lines that look realistic. But now with rivers and stuff, I'm able to follow that. But like, there's no rivers here. And this is what the new land of purple looks like. They are slowly turning into the Roman Empire. Uh-oh. Major city-wise, they're going to add a few in Sicily, which was just split up. A few in South Corsica, Carthage. Wow, they're really ending up like the Roman Empire. And a few here and there all around this area. And trade route-wise, they pretty much were already working on this, so it's done within just a little bit. Also over here in Morocco, they actually were able to fix this problem here, and they could reopen the trade route. They also finally finished this trade route, which was going like there to this major city. And most of this trade route will be finished, except for the part going to Germany, because they just had to settle so far away. France will hurry up and start trade with England, and they will also get rid of all the bandits here in this trade route. Germany will finish this trade route, which was going through here to connect all this, and they will create a short little stop right there. A trade route will be made from Cyan's capital to Purple's major city, and from Purple's major city to another Purple major city. Purple is looking the most prosperous out of the trade routes. They're going to expand up north in the Italian peninsula, taking all of this and Corsica. And they'll look like this, and they will add a new major city into South Corsica. Cyan will fund Germany to explore further into Europe, and in return, Germany will have to return their findings. Germany will specifically explore up north. Germany will lock in and explore all of this. If you remember, I said that they were humiliated from the war. But we have a little issue going on. Germany is refusing to give their findings to Cyan. Germany says their payroll has to increase massively. And when I say massively, I mean something that Cyan can't even afford. Cyan said that this was not the deal, and they will formally send a declaration of war to them. India is going to fund major exploration all around, and it isn't just government officials going to explore and stuff, it's also civilians going out exploring and bringing back their findings. Whether they were being paid or not, they know that it will help India and their country so that way they can become stronger and more powerful. It also means that they can get more food, so they're kind of doing this out of happiness, you know? The government officials will start moving up the Indian coast. And when I say government officials, I mean like official explorers of the government, I guess, if that makes sense. Soon, exploration picks up, and they make it all the way into Thailand. Someone is also going to explore this because I hate that little hole right there. And the civilians are going to explore up north, and that actually pretty much fully fills in the Indian peninsula. We see several search parties, one going out from here, one going out from here, and another one going out from here. This one's from green, right here, this one. This one's going to go straight up north. This one's going to start going east. And this one will also start going east, but a little bit south. And then these guys here are going to run into something really bad. I think it was kind of obvious, but the Himalayas. They're going to have to stop exploration here, and they're just going to go around the Himalayas, and they're going to run into this group. These guys are going to explore all down here. The red is the line of the Himalayas, and then up here in the orange is just like the Himalayas, but like less. They're gonna explore the rest up here all the way that they can, all the way up to the Himalayas, and they're gonna have to stop here. But they'll go around west and over here. These guys are gonna continue exploring east. Exploration is complete inside of India. India is completely explored, and they're gonna make it all the way over here to the end of the Himalayas, and they're gonna go around it. These guys are going to make it up into these hills, and they're going to actually end up exploring them. They're going to explore all around and start exploring north of the Himalayas. The only problem is a lot of people over here died, and they're actually going to stop exploration over here and go back into India. These guys are also going to start dwindling out, not because they're dying, but just because some people are getting tired and are going back. Now, exploration around the Himalayas is at a complete halt, and we're going to see a little bit more exploration around here, and they're going to make it into China, down into this peninsula, and onto this island. They're going to go around up here, and eventually they will make it into the Korean peninsula, and they will stop there. Blue is going to continue exploring down south here. This is absolutely nothing like what India was doing, and they're just like sending a bit of explorers down here. And they're going to fill in around the horn a little bit. They're going to explore down south, and this is nothing like what India was doing, and they're just going to explore around here a little bit and like fill in a bit of an area. Now the world is looking a lot more explored. We're also going to see a bit of exploration by purple up here, but nothing much. Just around like here and above the Caucasian area. And just by the way, maroon and dark blue and a little bit of lime is kind of just like Mountain Dews, you know? Speaking of lime, they haven't had a trade route in a long time because of how unsafe it is, and they're kind of like dying out over here, but not actually dying out. But they just like fixed the problem like just now. So that's kind of safe there now. Going back into Asia, we're going to see a few big updates. Our first update is India is now in Sri Lanka. Nothing too big about this, but what is big for India, and this is what all of the new major cities and major military bases look like, and this is what it looks like with the provinces. Now, about this big cluster of major cities and provinces right over here, this is kind of like New York City, like each province here is a borough. But anyway, here are the trade routes. And right now, Sri Lanka is just being used as a fertile, like, farmland. There's going to be major cities here later, but for now, it's just farms. We also see a new country form over here in Vietnam, and this is its trade routes, major military bases, major cities, capital, and its provinces. We're also going to see France and this new colony that broke away explore the rest of England and a lot of Ireland. With that, we're also going to see this new colony expand, and then once they fall apart, they're going to look like this. After seeing this happen, they're going to try their hardest to try and get everyone back together, but they're ultimately going to fail. Well, would you look at that? The rest of Ireland was explored. 7-foot frame, right so long his back. When he calls your name, it all turns to black. We also see a new settlement over here in Norway. And trade route wise over here, it's looking pretty nice, and we have a giant North Sea trade route going through the water. And this trade route here was finished. And there's a new trade route between Morocco and Purple. Cyan will resolve this bandit problem. And regarding the Northern War, which I know you guys are excited for, it's happening right now. Really, it's been happening the entire episode, but I'm only going to pick up on it now because now is when it's like important for me to start talking about it. I'm going to start from the very beginning of like what happened though. So in the last episode, we saw Cyan send their declaration of war into Germany, and now they are officially at war. Purple has stated their neutrality in this war, and they will not participate on Cyan or Germany's side. Cyan has been moving their troops up north, and they're going to be like taking a break or like hiding over here at the Himalayas. Germany will go down south, sending their army, and after a long time, they kind of look like this. So during this entire episode, Germany was heading down here, and Cyan was waiting over here by the Alps. I might have said Himalayas before, I meant Alps. We're going to see Germany scooch down here and start approaching Cyan's border. And just like that, they're going to reach Cyan's border and go down here and grab this major city. And they'll use this as kind of like a waiting point, but they're going to start going towards the capital. But now, this is where this army comes into the plan. You might be thinking, why is this army just waiting over here by the Alps and not doing anything about this? That's because they're doing this right now. The army over here is completely cut off of all of their resources coming from Germany, and Cyan will chase them all the way down. They're going to make it all the way over to here, and they're going to start working on taking back their land. They're going to push around here and make it so they're completely inside, and they're going to start working on getting rid of their spearhead. They're going to go right over here and take back this major city. But these guys are able to retake it and actually retake a lot of land that they lost and a little bit more. And they reach the border again. And they're going to continue their spearhead down here. And why is Cyan just losing so much all of a sudden? That's because this is happening. Germany spread out their forces, and it made it a lot easier for them to defend off of Cyan's army to make it back over here to get connection with their troops again, which they are able to do. And now they have a connection, and these guys are able to be supplied, which causes the spearhead to be even more successful. And right now, they are practically touching the capital. They're going to reach over here and grab this major city. And heading back over here, we're going to see that Cyan is going to try and push back on these guys a little bit. In this area here, it isn't successful, but where it is successful is up here. Cyan is able to push against this army, and they are going to have to find another route to connect here, and they're going to do this. And just like that, we're going to gain a new member inside of the Northern War, France. France, who is on Cyan's side, is going to reach into here and start attacking Germany. They're going to go down the countryside and burn up more farms because this is their hobby, I guess. The army just loves burning up farms. But in reality, they're actually going to go for this major city while also burning up farms. I wasn't lying. And the rest here is cut off, so it's kind of just taken. But their main goal was to get up here so that way they can fight the army. One thing that Germany doesn't know that France knows is that all of their supplies for their army that they are sending down here is right in this major city. How do they know that? Norway told them. Norway, who had just recently formed right before we hopped into the war, knew that all of their military and food supplies were right over here. And these guys all decided to go up here into Norway because they knew what was happening over here. It was after the declaration of war had been sent, and they also didn't really want to be a part of it. So to try and end the war as fast as possible, they told France about all of the supplies. And they're getting really, really close. But that's until they get pushed back over here, and that's because Germany just got some new supplies from the one and only Spain. Spain is secretly funding and sending supplies into Germany, and they are now able to push back against France, pushing them all the way back to this major city, and they're able to remove them from here and take back this major city. They're going to split these guys in two, and they're going to be able to go around here a little bit secretive, they don't know about that. But in the meantime, they will get rid of all of this army here and a little bit down there. France is going to start pushing up towards the capital instead, but they're going to have to quickly pull their troops out of here because now they're being threatened. Down here, they've gotten pushed all the way back to their border, and now they are being attacked. One major city is taken, followed by another, and then this farmland over here. They're going to go down towards this major city and then have a second operation going down the coastline. Back over here, Cyan has pushed them all the way back into this major city, and they're fighting to take it back right now, which they win, and they push them all the way out of their country. Right now, Cyan's army is a little bit scattered, so they're all going to gather together and fix this up. They're mainly working on getting rid of this army here because they're trying to go and attack Germany, and they're going to start working at this. And this one goes very successful, actually, as they're able to push them all the way back to here. Up here in France, this major city is going to get captured, and so will all of this land here. But soon they're going to pull themselves out of this major city and out of most of the land over here, keeping only 2 major cities for themselves here. And that's because Cyan has made a sweeping campaign all the way up through here and is now threatening their border, but they haven't actually touched it yet. With the sudden need to pull their army back so far, France is going to be able to win back these major cities and are able to meet Germany at the border again. A small group of an army from France is going to go down south around Germany, and they're going to go to the front line here to let some major generals know everything that they need to know about trying to attack Germany, aka where all of the supplies are. We're going to see Germany push back on the southern side all the way back to here. But that's because Cyan's pushing in on the east side, and they reach this major city and reach up for this one. Germany is going to surrender for another time, and now we're going to look at this peace treaty. This peace treaty is pretty simple. France will get some southern parts. Even though they did attack up here, they still want these parts because it's fertile farmland. And Cyan will get this small area here, but we're going to see them do something with this. They're going to turn this into a puppet state and expand it a little bit further east. The only reason for that is because they don't want to maintain their own land all the way up north here. This isn't really their own land, though. Still, it's just a puppet state, though. And the final part of the peace treaty is that Germany has to give their findings back to Cyan. We're now going to move out of Europe and go into Arabia. Holy moly guacamole. This is a lot of new land here. And if we turn on the provinces, we can also see, the original land. So blue got some land down here. Purple So blue got some land down here, red got all of this, and purple expanded all the way out to here. And yes, the problem with Mesopotamia is now fixed. Don't worry, guys. Another thing that we're going to see here is pink, or what did I call it? The Nile. The Nile expands all the way over to here. This is like Jordan, northern Israel, maybe Lebanon. But now we have this giant unfilled in spot, which is going to look like this. And I am not excited to draw these new provinces. Okay, let's go. This is what Arabia looks like fully filled in. The Nile expanded into like Jordan and Israel and Sinai Peninsula area. There's this new country which I'll talk about soon. Pink expanded all the way into the Mediterranean Sea. Red expanded all the way through this. And blue got a little bit of land up north. Province-wise, it looks like this. Over here, we can see the new provinces. There's all these big provinces, but that's because this is just desert. Like, you know, we have stuff here, here, and then you can kind of see the Euphrates and Tigris outline. Major city stuff, major military bases. And if you haven't already noticed, blue is kind of like a neutral country. They don't have, like, they barely have any military bases. You can actually kind of still see the outline of what red used to look like. These, like, lime yellow guys, these guys, they all came from England. So, like, all these countries and Norway, they all came from here and settled over here inside of this place, whatever this is called. Iraq, I think. Iraq's here. But we're going to move out of Arabia and go right next to Arabia. And we're going to see a familiar face return. Would you look at that? It's our good old friend, the bandits. The bandits are back in green. Green has been trying to resolve their problem with the bandits on the trade routes, and as you can see, every spot where there's the trade route bandits is where these guys are. Green is going to work hard to get rid of these bandits, and if I'd have to guess, the easiest place to get rid of these guys is down here on these southern ones, and the hardest ones are up here. And apparently Green has the exact same mindset because they're going to do just that. They're going to start off by going into here. Just for quick reference, these guys' capital is right here. But Green is going to hurry up and quickly grab into this major city, and they're going to pretty much just fall after that. The rest of these guys over here are not that strong, and their next target are these guys because they're right next to the capital. And they kind of just block them off. That's their main goal. And then they're going to go on this side and block them off from this major city. But that's all they're going to do before they start getting pushed back. And they're going to go down south here, but they're going to eventually fall. Heading back over here, they're going to go down this way because it's heavily guarded right along here. So they're going to go down here and encircle them, and then they're going to be able to push them back just a little bit on this eastern side. They're going to take the rest of this western part and then take over the rest of here. These bandits are going to work to get rid of all these plots. They're going to go right here, grab this major city, and then they're going to work on connecting all of these spots. And it looks a little bit like this, and this area is going to fall over to them. They're also going to reach up here for this major city, which they're going to be able to grab successfully, and then they're going to circle around, and just there's no one there, so. But now it's Green's turn to go and fight. They're going to start over here and push back and try and grab back this major city, and they're going to try their hardest, and they will be able to do it, and that's kind of the fault of this army over here. And then they're going to start pushing in. They're going to reach in here and start attacking, and they're really just going to go down the trade route mostly, but they're still going to reach in. They're going to go down on the east side and on the west side, and then they're going to make a sweeping campaign through the rest of this area. Green's going to start off by chasing these guys down, and then the rest are going to come in and just encircle them. These guys are going to pop up again over here and start to rebel. And just in case you were wondering, yes, these guys are the exact same people who rebelled over here. And just in case you were wondering, these guys are the exact same who were down here in blue. They're going to start pushing in up here in the northern part, and they're going to be able to take back this major city, and once again, that's the fall here. They're going to start pushing in again from over here, and they're going to go up north too, and they're going to take this major city, which is actually their capital, so that's bad. They're going to connect these two armies here, and they're going to split these guys in two, taking this northern half, and they're going to start working down here in this part down here. By the way, Green is much stronger than these rebellious guys, and they're going to push through here. And they're going to aim for this area, and they're going to liberate a lot here, and they're going to push in and, well, really probably just take all this because it's just farm. And they're going to try their hardest not to siege anything because it's their, like, cities and stuff. But they're going to push up here, and they're going to be met at the border here. And this is their only city left, and they're going to siege it. Not siege it, but, like, you know, grab it. And this is the fall because they've lost all their military, all of their stuff, and not all their military, but they've lost a lot of things, and Green is going to start pushing back into these guys and get rid of them. They're going to split them in two and take this northern half pretty easily, and it's kind of a hard fight down here, but with people going in from the west side, it's pretty much just a fall after that. And let's take a quick look at this peace treaty. Simple enough, they just get all their land back, but these guys aren't actually gone. And they are back once again in blue. But since blue is in a military alliance, this will trigger it. So red, blue, and India will all work together to get rid of these bandits. India also has this bandit problem. So now these bandits are back, and they were in green, and then they moved down into blue, and then into India. Blue and red are going to start by pushing into these guys from here, and they're going to go up north in this area and start pushing in. And this is like a mixture of red and blue troops, but they're going to cut down here and get rid of this area. We also are going to see these guys go down here and grab a major city. They're also going to go towards this way and grab 2 major cities, and then they're going to meet up and encircle a bunch of stuff here and take it all over. From here, they're going to scooch over here and take these 2 major cities, and that'll be a nice setup to grab this one. And just like that, they're already forming a spearhead threatening the capital. Up north, they're losing this war, but down south, they're winning. Red and blue makes a sweeping front all the way down here and takes over all this land in this major city, but Lime is able to take it back after just a little bit. Over here in India, they're going to kind of focus on themselves, and they're just going to grab this major city back and go up the coast to grab this one, and they're going to keep on working on that. The rebellious group is a little bit far from the capital, so what's the closest thing to a capital that's near them? The boroughs. They're going to jot down here and take this major city and continue their spearhead going towards it, and India sees exactly what they're trying to do. They're going to take this major city and then send a smaller army to go grab some others. There's a smaller one going here, grabbing this one, and then grabbing this one, and then they're going to go down here to grab this one, and encircle some stuff. I guess this is just civilians. They're also going to go up north here and grab this major city, and this is not looking good for them. Some other guys are going to go up north here and grab this major city, and what we see is not good for India. However, they're going to be able to keep on pushing up here, and they're going to grab this major city from them, and they're going to get a little bit of a fight back, but not enough to completely destroy their front line. But they are going to lose a major city again, but the rebellious group is able to grab back 1 major city, and sound the sirens because they just reached the bureaus. And sound the sirens because they just reached the bureaus. They grabbed all 7. They grabbed all 7 within just a few hours because of their close range. And then they're going to go down here and grab this major city and kind of fill in here and do a sweeping attack down, grabbing 1 major city. And this is when India really gets mad, and they're going to just put all of their major generals into defending, and that does a lot of stuff. They get this major city, and they completely separate these armies from their mainland. They take back a few major cities over here, and they are very close to getting back to the boroughs. They're going to make a small sweeping attack up here to grab back this major city, and they're going to get about halfway before they stop for just a little bit. This major city, who is just doing the exact same thing, is going to finally get taken over again, and they're going to go up north here to grab back this major city. And this far eastern major city is finally taken back, and they're going to continue up north towards the boroughs. They're very close when they take these 2 northern ones, which are definitely not the bigger ones, compared to these 5. And they're able to take back 1 of these 5, followed by another one, followed by another one, followed by 1 more, and the last bit of that army is killed. And let's go check in on blue to see how they're doing. Well, shoot. Their capital's taken, and there's a big encirclement happening over here. And they finally made it into red, and there's a big encirclement happening here. And they also start pushing back on these front lines, and they reach the border of red right here. And they decimate this army, and they're already pushing back once again. We're going to see a new member join this military alliance, and it will be none other than the Nile. The Nile has been growing pretty strong lately, and they're going to send a bunch of troops down here to help fight. With the new Nile troops, they're going to go down here and take back these major cities, and they're going to do a large encirclement of troops and kill them all off. They're going to go up to this northern part and continue their front line here. The next thing we're about to see is without the Nile's help, and it's probably one of the greatest military attacks yet. This encirclement here is fully encircled, and they have no Nile helping them. But what they do is this. They're going to push back over here, and they're able to take back this major city and use it as their major, port or whatever. And they're going to take back this major city, and now they have access to the sea. Which means that they can take back their capital, they can take back this major city, and then they can destroy the rest of the army over here. The army's going to have to pull out of red, and they're going to have to start pushing back in. They're going to take back this major city, but then red continues to send the troops, and they get pushed back almost all the way back to their border. Everyone is trying to dispose of these guys as fast as possible, and this northern territory is gone, and they attack in here, grabbing back all of these major cities as fast as they can, splitting them in two, grabbing back these major cities on the Horn of Africa, and this island, and now all the troops here are gone. Heading back into India, who has been focusing on themselves and their own bandit problem, they have pushed into this major city and taken it back, and they're expanding, and they're going up north here to grab back this major city, which they do, and they're going to start going up on this northern border here, and they start an encirclement, which is completely successful, and they get rid of all these troops here. They're going to go down south and make a sweeping movement to take back all the land that they lost, and it is very, very successful because there's a bit of red troops in there. And just like that, these guys are gone once again. Of course, a really simple peace treaty is just everyone gets their land back. Red still doesn't ask of anything from anyone because of how good they are. The only other thing that we see is how the Nile leaves the military alliance, and instead they're going to join this Star Economic Alliance, and so will this Lime country. Another thing that we're going to see is the Circle Military Alliance. And the members that we see joining are Green, who's the founder, Dark Blue, and most notably Morocco, who's a little bit far away from all of them. The final alliance update is Cyan joining the Star Alliance, and this one's growing pretty fast. It already has 5 members, and then Blue and India are like this close, and then Blue and India are like really close to joining. Moving back into this region, we're going to see another war break out. I know, it's just so surprising. And who could have guessed that it was Lime against Maroon? Lime is going to start up a really good sneak attack, and they're going to go capture the capital. And then they're going to shoot down to this major city, and Maroon is going to ask for peace. This is kind of crazy. If I were you, Maroon, I would move your capital. Maroon kind of has their capital encircled. Luckily for them, they've gained a few major cities recently, and they're able to take their capital and move it out of this area, and they're going to move it down to their oldest major city, getting rid of this capital here, and honestly, at this point, they're just going to sell this area to Lime at some point, and that point is right now, because they are kind of almost out of money. They're, like, really close to being out of money. Like, really close to being out of money. But selling that really good city and land to Lime is going to help their economy a lot more. Moving out of here, let's go check an update somewhere. Whoa, holy crap. Okay, so turns out expanding so fast into Arabia and then also funding so much inside of India and Blue does not help with your citizens. These are a few major rebellions, one in Qatar, one in Yemen/Oman, one in the central Saudi Arabia, one in western Saudi Arabia, and one in Iraq/Iran. This is a big rebellion, and Red's gonna have to get rid of it, and, well, we're gonna see them go in and attack Dark Cyan. They're gonna hop in here and take one major city and go down the coastline a little bit further to grab another and fill in this area, which is basically just like suburbs, and they're also gonna start pushing in on the rest of the border, and they're not going to be able to do so much, but they're able to, like, push in a little bit. They're going to start forming a little spearhead to go towards this major city, but they are kind of worn out of their army because of how much funding they did for Blue and India when they had their bandit problems. Dark Cyan here is going to push back on this western front and kind of just, like, go back to the border, and then they're going to start their own attack. Their own attack will look something like this, and they'll kind of just, like, go up here, and this is, like, a lot of soldiers. And the reason that all of these guys broke away is because Red wasn't focusing on the people, and they were focusing on the other countries around them, like India and Blue. Red was spending too much money funding Blue and all of their bandit problems, and the same goes for India. And they just weren't focusing on their people, and it made the people mad and, caused all of this to happen. And, well, maybe some of it wasn't even Red's fault. It could have been a bit of foreign funding. Maybe. I don't know. But Dark Cyan reaches up to this little major city, and they start reaching out for another one. And Red also pushes back a little bit, but not for long, as right after that, this entire western area is just pushed aside. And they also manage to take back this major city and a bit more of the suburbs, but not enough. They also start pushing in just a little bit over here, but not far enough to do anything. And the final little thing is Red just pushing in and taking this, and they're approaching the capital. They're trying to do an encirclement, but they're not able to do it so well, and they also push back right there, push back, and now they're the one who's like a little bit inside of the territory of Dark Blue. In the end here, Dark Cyan gets more land overall, but Red is more strategic and gets less land but more valuable land. Over here, we're going to see the furthest away, except for maybe turquoise, but the furthest away from the capital actually, never mind, I take that back. But a pretty far away one is going to do a lot of work, and they're going to just push up through here. And they're going to start off by taking these two major cities and going down here. This, like, northern spearhead is going to grab this major city and then hop towards this one. And they're also going to just work on, like, filling in these suburb areas. These ones down here are going to push in, and there aren't actually, like, you know, major cities here, but these are, like, small little towns, areas. But they're going to push up here and take back this other major city, or not take back, attack this major city. And they kind of just, like, they're basically, like, with the Nile here, but not, the Nile's not funding anything, just by the way. Green here does know about a few of these major military bases, but they don't know where every single one is. But they do know that there are a few up here next to these major cities, so they're able to take these. And they're basically just doing a big encirclement of these suburbs, but, like, it's not going to do so much help. It just makes them look more intimidating and big to the army. But this part here is encircled and there's no more lines, so they're just going to keep on, like, going further and further in, and it's kind of just going to fall over to them. They're also going to do a bit of pushing south, but they're not going to like it so much, and they're just going to pull their army out. We're going to see Pink take their opportunity to just take over as much land as they can, and they're going to kind of just sweep down here, and they're going to end up taking over one major military base. And they're also going to have a spearhead going towards this major city, and this is basically just an encirclement right here as they take over all of this and kind of just sweep down here, but that's until Blue enters into their territory and starts taking over land and actually capture their capital. This gives Reds a chance to, like, push back, and this also is, like, not really 100% them pushing back. It's also kind of the army just, like, falling back. But we're going to see that they're not bordering green here anymore, and they're almost going to fully push back until they kind of have to all just collapse. Blue takes another major city, and red starts attacking into pink. Red's going to push in from, like, these areas here, and they're going to grab this major city, and this kind of just splits them in two, and they get this northern half. I keep saying kinda. I'm sorry. Pink basically only has half a major city left, and they're just gonna capitulate to red and blue, and it's kind of just gonna look like this. I'm sorry, I must stop saying kinda. Just like that, pink was the first one to fall to red and blue. We're gonna see red push back just a little bit, and they're gonna be able to get rid of this spearhead and kind of just get them off of the border of blue. And blue tells red that the leader of blue tells red that, hey, that was all they're going to do, and they're actually going to give them this land back because they didn't take anything from them when the bandits did all that, and they're, like, in debt to them, so that was just basically them repaying their debt, and they're not going to do anything else in this war. We're also going to see Dark Cyan push back just a little bit and take back this major city. Up here, we're going to see red push into Qatar because Qatar starts an offensive all the way towards red's capital because they're, like, really close, and they're gonna take over these major cities here, and they're gonna start going towards here. Qatar also has, you know, navy, so they're able to land here and take this major city, and they're gonna do it encirclement. This is kind of suburbs. It also has a bit of the army, and they're gonna reach over here, but that's until they're stopped by red, and they just kind of get fully pushed back. They're able to hold back just a little while, maybe like a few days, but they're going to eventually get pushed back all the way to their border, and then red will start to enter the border of Qatar. Red will enter in and immediately take one major city and go down the coast. They're going to go down these suburbs with a different set of the army and kind of do a small encirclement here. It's not really much. But they're going to grab this major city, and they're going to, like, approach Qatar, but they're not going to do anything just yet, as they just need to, like, rest up the army. And the last rebellion to make a move will, in fact, be Turquoise. They're going to make a major sweep down here, taking over this major city and all of these suburbs, which is actually probably a lot of farms. This is, like, the Mesopotamian area. No, this is the Mesopotamian area here. Speaking of Mesopotamian area, they're going to push in here and just go up along this line of cities, and they're also going to form a spearhead here, and there's, like, a massive encirclement right here. This is, like, a crazy thing. And they go up here, they spearhead out a little bit to this major city, but not much. But they push up and grab these three, and it's just a big encirclement again. But this time it's not, like, as much army as it was before in this encirclement right here. They're also going to sweep down here and take this major city and kind of just, like, capitulate this entire area. Am I using capitulate right? I don't know. But they're going to make sure to not, like, touch green at all because they don't want any problems. So, what exactly happened? Because Turquoise just did all of that super easily. That's like a lot of major cities there. Well, some people in the army were able to escape down into this major city, which would get them a ride into the capital where they could talk to. Well, this is an oligarchy. Oh, by the way, I have this new thing. It's an ideology map. You can just see the ideologies. So this is an oligarchy. These guys don't have one. That's really weird. Purple is a monarchy. This kind of light gray. Wait, no, this is a dark gray. No, this is a light gray. The light gray is a chiefdom, and you probably won't be seeing this soon because chiefdoms are a little bit like old. A dark gray is a dictatorship, and that's about it. But the people in charge over here in red is where the army will go to. So the army people from here are going to go into here. So they'll take a very risky trip because they don't want to accidentally land inside of green, and that's going to suck. But they're going to go down here and they're going to land in the capital. They're also going to have to make sure to not go down here and accidentally land in Qatar. So it's very risky, and they're going to land in the capital, and they're going to talk to whoever's in charge. I don't know what they're called, oligarchists. They're also going to bring some evidence, and they're going to show them that the turquoise wasn't really the turquoise because when pink and red fought the war against green, it was like a long time ago, but not so long ago that the technology from then can't be like diverse. You can still tell the like that some piece of army is another piece. What I'm trying to say is that green was funding turquoise, and that is exactly how they were able to do this. And the reason that the army was able to figure that out is because they were able to recognize the type of equipment that turquoise was using, and it was kind of like the one that green had way back when in the war against pink and red. So that's a big cliffhanger, and I'm going to leave it there as we're going to go up into the Mediterranean. France is going to do a lot of expanding, and they've been like working on this while this is happening, but I'm just only picking it up now because it's only important now. But let's just see what they've done. This is a lot of land that France is taking, but they've been like working on it during this entire like war thing that's happening down here in red. But let's see what the new major cities and like all that stuff look like. This is what France looks like with the new provinces. This is what it looks like with the new major cities. And this is what it looks like with the new major military bases. And altogether, it looks like this. Down over here in Asia, we're going to see that this new Cyan Vietnamese team, whatever, work on the trade route, and it's actually made very good progress. And we're also going to see, India. And we're also going to see India do their own work as to meaning, like, that means they do their own work to get up towards them, and they're getting really close to interlocking. There are some groups of people here that actually want to move up further up north and specifically into the Korean Peninsula. We see this new country form here, and this is literally South Korea because I followed this river here. So this is basically just South Korea. But not really. But these guys, as you can tell, they're pretty stable, pretty rich. They got a lot of like people coming in from mainly India and Vietnam, but also a bit from like green and red and pink, but like red mostly out of these three because well red's like in a major civil war, so that is like where all of these people have been pouring in from, and now it's just a country. South Korea's next order of business will just be to like explore more, and they're going to explore further into Japan, fully exploring this island, and they're going to hop over to this island and they're going to make it onto mainland Japan. They're going to explore up here a little bit before they'll stop because they don't want to spend up too much money early. And in the meantime, they'll explore a little bit further into these areas, but not so much because, of course, they don't want to spend too much money too early. And the place that they'll do the most expanding is up here in their like northern-ish areas, and it goes pretty well up here. This region remains stable, and there is like no conflict. There's also no one for conflict. And these guys are also oligarchists, and so is India, who didn't have one before. And also, so are all of these ones. They don't really have a full government just yet, but like for now, they're just oligarchy-ness. But the next thing we're going to see is going to be over here inside of this area, and no, it's not another war. Thank God. Instead, it's going to be expansion by the guys who literally just lost all of their land, and it's going to be maroon, and they're doing this because they literally just lost all of their land. and I just dropped a can on the floor. Okay, hold on. Guys, I picked it up upside down and it spilled. Shoot. Okay, anyway, where are they gonna expand to? This is literally just mountains. So what? They're just gonna claim it anyway. And just like that, Maroon is now in like second place for all of these orange descendants. And well, they've been working on this just like everyone else has. So, for example, during the time that we were focusing on this, Maroon expanded through all of this, France expanded through all of this, and Korea was formed. So during that time, expansion here also happened. So no, this wasn't all at once. I know I keep saying that, but it is applied for literally everything. But let's see what the major cities and all of this stuff looks like. This is what all of their provinces look like. And yes, now Maroon has a bit of Euphrates and Tigris, but not so much. And well, they're gonna kind of just figure out how they're able to place some of these major cities. A lot of this is mountains, but not all of it. These are all of the major cities that they gained, and there was one new one over here in this province. But as you can see, actually, now Maroon touches into the Mediterranean, so that's probably really good for them. And these are the major military bases. Yes, I know, the southern half is, in fact, a flashbang. It's a little crazy, but, you know, this is the border with pink, and you know the tensions around here. They also are going to have a few more up here, and definitely are going to place 1, 2 right there. Just protecting their capital because, you know, they're not on good terms with Lime right now. They just fought a war, you know. Maroon used to be all the way up here. We're also going to see Purple expand a little bit further into, like, modern day Turkey. And it's just going to be along this little coastline of it. They're going to take all of this, and it's not that much, to be honest. Compared to the rest of Purple, it's really not that much. Now, unlike most other expansions, this was kind of all at once. Obviously, they didn't, like, blink of an eye, it was all theirs. They obviously went out to go grab it, but they didn't do it slowly but surely, where they, like, slowly went in and slowly got new land. No, they all did it in one go, where they all, like, claimed the land. But it wasn't, like, slow, you know? But this is what they look like. They have a few good major cities. They literally have Istanbul. And they do line up a few major military bases along the border with Maroon, except they only do that for protection. As you can see, they do it along everywhere. That's actually the only border they share with, except for Cyan, which obviously they're close friends with. Speaking of Purple and Cyan, right now they're growing closer diplomatically, and expansion paths begin aligning as both of them seem to be wanting to go east. Cyan isn't ready to expand yet, but they know how they're going to expand. When they do, it's going to look something like this, or something like this, where they go down into Croatia, I think. But they only will do the second level if they're really powerful and grow really strong or something. But they know that one day, as long as Lime doesn't take it, they will eventually do it. But in the meantime, Cyan is actually going to expand up north. This is what Cyan looks like after expanding a little bit further up north, and from the looks of it, you can definitely tell that they are allied with Purple. We're going to move down into Morocco, who is now fully, or at least mostly, functioning like a normal country would. If you remember, they literally just fought a revolutionary war against Spain, but they're going to do some exploration down this coast. They're actually going to touch up on 2 of these islands and look at those. But they're not going to go any further than down the coast because all they're really finding is just more of the same thing. And yes, everyone knows not to go inland because the more inland that they've gone, the more hot it's gotten. Except for Blue, they're like chill with their African placement. But we're going to see some new settlers go down here, and they're going to do a little bit more exploration inland, and we're going to see a new country form down here. And this is what they look like in the end. I know their provinces are pretty big, but that's fine because there's not really any other good ways to divide them up. And also, they're really just completely stable because the only people that live here literally, like, just moved here because they wanted to move here. So, we're going to see West Africa grow and grow in the following episodes. And now we're going to go back into Red, of course. Just a small recap. Red has pushed up against Qatar and they're almost gone. Red and Blue have worked together to get rid of Pink. Blue said that they only did that just to pay back their debt, and that's the only thing they'll be doing in this war. This Dark Cyan team pushed all the way up through the desert and captured this major city. And red pushed in and is already threatening their capital just a little bit. This green team is pushed up all the way towards the Nile. And most notably, this turquoise team is being funded by green, or at least red suspects so. And that is how they were able to move so far, so fast. At least that is how red suspects so. We're going to see red continue to push back on Qatar, this time from another front, which is their western side. They're going to push in and capture this major city, leaving Qatar with only 2 major cities, one of them being their capital. These 2 fronts will meet up, destroying this major military base, and they're going to start their sweep up towards Qatar, except these guys were ready for this defense. Red is able to capture 1 major city, but not for long, as Qatar starts pushing back. And the red team army starts finding more and more of some green-looking like weapons. Now that red is ready to push back against turquoise, they weren't doing so before so much because they literally were not expecting this. They are going to start pushing back. They're going to start here in this southern area, and they're going to take back 2 major cities, followed by 1 over here and 1 over here. They're going to scooch up here towards the Euphrates River and grab a lot of stuff back. They get a lot of their major military bases, which helps them get to supplies, which lets them reach back up with the pink border, aka their border. This leaves this entire area to be kind of just split away, and it kind of just capitulates over to red. Turquoise does a little bit more pushing back against them, and they take back these areas, but it doesn't last so long, as red has now entered into their borders. Red enters into their borders, and they're making small encirclements everywhere, and they capture this major city, and they make the journey up north to capture back this major city, while also in the west taking back these 3 over here, which are heavily guarded. There's a shootout over here reaching east to cut off the capital from the rest of the country, but turquoise, just in time, is able to push back. They take back 1 major city and 1 major military base and are able to re-enter red territory from this area. With this, they're also able to push back a little bit over here, and let's take a break from this front over here. Qatar is pushed back to this major city and then this major military base, and that's basically the end for Qatar after this island is captured here. India and purple start sending goods and a few volunteers to red to help them out. Not so much that it's literally like overwhelming everyone, but it's just to give them a bit of aid to show, hey, we're your friend, just remember that. Blue is going to break their promise, but in a good way, and they're going to actually start attacking into dark cyan here, and they're going to be able to capture 1 major city, and red is going to question this, but not angrily. They're happy that blue's still helping them, but they just find it a bit weird how they kind of lied about not helping. But obviously they're friends. They're in the same military alliance and economic alliance, so they literally don't care. It's a little odd if you're gonna think about it. But with blue stepping in over here, dark cyan is gonna have to pull almost all the way back. In fact, all the way back from over here, and that gives red and blue the chance to just slam into these guys. Red's going to start pushing in from the east, and they'll capture this northern area, including this major city. Blue is going to do an encirclement, capturing this major military base. They're also going to reach out and start sieging this city from the west, and red will reach out and start sieging the city from the east. After just a little bit, this city is fully captured, but we also see them push back and take back this major city, this major military base, and they start attacking into blue. Yep, you heard me right. They're attacking blue now, and they're going to go down the coastline, and they're going to capture 2 major cities, and they're already approaching the capital. This gives them the chance to push back just a little bit and start taking back this major city, but red is going to, lock in, and they're on something. I don't know what they're on, but they're gonna siege and capture the capital, and that's basically the fall, as now they take over all of this, and now they have no major cities left. It is now up to blue and red to fully get rid of dark cyan, which is definitely a hard fight, but after splitting them in 2 and cutting off their water access, it was pretty easy. First, the eastern city falls back over to blue, and then this western city. Now the only problems that remain are green and turquoise. Red is going to start pushing into green, and they're going to start from over here, which is probably their best option. They're going to capture these 2 major cities and major military bases, and they'll reach out grabbing this major military base and this one, and this northern front is going to reach over here to grab this major city, and green will finally wake up and they'll start pushing back a little bit, but it's not going to do too much. In fact, red starts pushing back even further. Red will go over here and they'll start attacking the capital, but red will actually get pushed back all the way. And they'll get pushed even further into their territory, all the way to the pink team's borders. They'll also push back over here, all the way to this border, and they'll hold up in these two major cities for now. And oddly enough, when green goes into attack, green is actually going to start liberating pink, not attacking where pink used to be, but they're going to liberate it. Pink is almost fully liberated, and they start pushing back as now they're ready to fight again. And they're going to start pushing back against blue, and they'll capture one major city, and they'll start pushing down this eastern side until they block off from blue, and that's basically the end. And now pink is back. Pink is not only going to start attacking into red, but they're also going to start pushing into blue. Up here, we see this entire front up here with red just get pushed back, both of the fronts, and turquoise is going to start pushing back harder than they did before, capturing back all of this land. In the meantime, we see green growing a little bit unstable as they're spending a little bit too much money on some stuff that they're doing around the world. Anyway, wait a minute. Oh, Qatar's back. Qatar's back, and they're going to start pushing against red, and they're going to push all the way down here and actually take back all of the needed land except for one major military base, and they're going to start working more and more on getting towards this end area, and they're going to start pushing into red. They're going to reach out and go to this major city and this major city, and it's really weird, actually. They're going to start pushing over here, and this is when these guys are going to fall, meaning that red is fully outside of green's territories. In fact, red's outside of every territory except for dark cyan, which fell. Turquoise is going to reach down and grab these major cities and meet up with green. They're also going to grab these major cities, and it seems that red all of a sudden is losing the war. This was a really big switch up as they had just been winning, actually. They had pink fully captured, dark cyan fully captured, Qatar fully captured, and they were working on turquoise. And the only change, or the only thing that didn't change, I guess, was that they're still not inside of green territory, but they're just not anymore, and dark cyan is gone, so that's really weird. Moving away from red for now, we're going to go into India, and we're going to see them expand a little bit. We're going to see India take all of this land, and honestly, it isn't so much, but let's see what the new major cities, major military bases, and provinces look like here. And this is what India looks like in the end after getting all of this new stuff. Yes, this is like a crazy line, and it would suck if it got taken over somehow. I'm not foreshadowing, I'm just saying that it would suck. But, they're growing a little bit unstable. Not so much that they're gonna fall apart, but if they were in the green, now they're in the orange. Orange? Yellow. I don't know. They're in a less green. And finally, we're going to see the tensions that you've all been waiting for finally explode. I know I foreshadowed it earlier in the video when I said that just maroon, lined up all of these major military bases along their borders. Also, don't forget about this little border right here, where all of them meet. And when I say all of them, I kind of mean all of them. They pretty much all meet. But Pink was just desperate to claim land, as they can't really go out east because it's not really a need. And they kind of just want this land because it's so developed compared to what they would do if they were to just go in here. Lime, as we all know, is also desperate for land because they have been robbed of being able to get land, like, the entire series. Maroon still holds grudges against Lime for the last war, and Dark Blue saw all of this, and they were like, if we wait, we're gonna lose our power, and we're gonna slowly just get taken over by them. So, we're finally gonna see a war break out in here. I believe the last time we saw a war was way back when, Dark Blue fought for their independence, which, in fact, all of them kind of helped them with. But maybe we'll see orange come back again one day. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not foreshadowing, I swear. But the first people to make a move is going to be dark blue. Yes, this isn't just like a random attack. They've already sent the declaration of war. It's just dark blue is the first to make a move. Dark blue is going to go in here and capture this major city. Pink is going to go up here, and they're going to find this major military base and take that over. And that's all they're going to do in here so far. Pink is going to jump up here, and they're going to be able to take over all this land, which is actually really smart. So what they did was they went from here, and they kind of just jumped over here, easily being able to take over this land. Then they shoot out here and take this major city. Maroon is going to push down near this, like, Euphrates area, and they're going to try and grab up here, but Pink is going to be able to push them back just a little bit. Pink is also going to push in, and they're going to be able to do stuff without getting pushed back so far. Maroon is going to push in here, and they're going to start taking over more land that they had lost from Lime, which is also one of the things that they wanted to do. I don't know if I mentioned that. And Dark Blue is also going to reach in here, and they're going to take over this land from here. Lime is going to push in up here, and they're actually going to have a very easy time because it isn't all mountainy compared to down here, at least. But it doesn't mean that they aren't going to get pushed back just a little bit, and it's not going to be too much, except they will lose one of the major military bases that they took over. And Lime will make naval landing inside of Maroon, and they kind of miscalculate and accidentally land at a major city, but it is only 2 doors down from the capital. This all erupted at once, and it's really chaotic. So what I mean by this all erupted at once is it didn't happen in the order that I showed it, and it actually just all happened at once. And just like that, we're going to end the episode off here. This was an insane episode. Never mind, we're not going to end the episode. Over here in Europe, we're going to see Germany expand just a little bit. Germany's going to expand like this, and let's see what they do with the rest of the stuff. And this is what Germany looks like. But we're going to start seeing some civil unrest inside of Germany. Why exactly? Well, Germany has been doing some pretty dumb things recently. Actually, throughout all of its lifetime, it has. It had a stupid war over cows with France way back when it formed. And then the government just decided to not give the findings to Cyan when they could have just easily done it to prevent any further wars or conflicts. And then, right after a war that they lost, and like completely lost in, and they're in an unstable state, they decide to expand. They're literally like, the government is throwing themselves down the drain, like by themselves, and now civil unrest is growing. We're going to see our first rebellious group down here in the south, but that's not the only one we see, because there's another up here in northern Denmark. Because we see another one up here in the north, and this is just the beginning, as now other groups inside of Germany are starting to see their own want for uprise. And we also see another smaller rebellious group here in the center. So I haven't really talked about Germany since, like, probably the Northern War, which was episode 5. But they have been growing their... Oh, they've just been chillaxing. They haven't done really anything. And after so many humiliations against France and Cyan and really just every country in the world, they have been looking to get back, and they've been working on their military a lot. So that will help them push back against these rebels, and I'm going to turn on the other stuff. That will help them push back against the rebels, and the first one to fall is the smallest, the Little Lime Rebellion right here. We're going to see them push back against this little brownish, southernish rebellion here. And they do pretty well. They don't have any major cities, actually. Well, they have one, but like it's pretty hard to get to. I'll be fair. And when it comes to Denmark, Germany's gonna be able to take this little island up here and sweep up this eastern half, and Denmark is going to be able to sweep down this western half. So now Germany's fronts look like this, and just in case you forgot, this little country here is Cyan's puppet state. You can tell because it has an outline of Cyan, and this is Cyan. Yeah. Heading out of Europe and into the Middle East, we're going to look back at whatever the heck is happening here in red. We're going to start up here inside of Qatar, and they're going to be able to push back a lot, actually. They're going to be able to take back this major military base that they've been trying to get back for a while now, and they're not going to be able to reach up with the border of red because, red's going to have to be careful that they don't reach the capital. But they will do a lot of work there. And they will also be able to meet up these two front lines and kind of just like swerve them up a little bit, Then they will make 2 different fronts, one going up this western spot with like where green is, so they have a bigger border with green. And they're also going to go up the coastline, so that way they can get more coastline if they were to ever become independent. And it also just makes it easier for supply lines. For them to be able to get water and stuff. But this was like a lot of stuff that Red was working on because, there are trapped soldiers up here and over here. So they're going to have to push back very hard, and they will. They get this major city back, and they also get back these major military bases, but not the coastline, sadly. Qatar is holding that very, very captive. They are making sure that Red cannot get any coastline back. Red is going to push up again, and they're going to be able to do a little bit, not so much, but they're able to do some stuff. And, so yeah, that's really all they're able to do. Turquoise doesn't do much except, they take over this entire spot. It's really just farmland, though. But Turquoise will push back in this way, and they'll grab back this stuff over here. Not crazy, but it happens. Moving down here into pink, we're going to see how they can like move out here just a little bit, and they'll reach up with green's borders. They will also make a sweeping campaign to just slam down through here, and it is successful. They will also try to push further into blue, but blue kind of gets mad, and just pushes them back. And they do in fact enter into their territory, but just to like keep a front line, just not too much stuff is happening, but they do grab a major city. And we're going to see that India will start aiding Red with supplies and other stuff like that, maybe even some volunteers here and there. Inside of Red's capital, they will be devising a plan that could turn this war around and Red could win. But for it to work, they're going to have to make sure that this major city isn't taken, which, it's kind of being like chased down right now by two different countries. It was just taken. Okay. So now what Red's going to have to do is, well, they're going to have to push through Qatar and make it over here so that way they can defend this city. And they will also send naval ships into the city to attack it navally to bring it back. But they're going to start off by pushing it in through here, and they're going to take back this major city and this major military base, and they'll kind of have like two little fronts going in through here, just pushing back. This front, after a long, long time, will be able to break through only after grabbing back this major military base for supplies, and that is when they will be able to start working on bringing back this major city again. And once the naval ships arrive, it's kind of just a fall of whatever Qatar was doing over here. We're also going to see that Qatar is able to cut back through here and grab back this area. So yeah, Red is split in two again, but they are able to reach into this major city now, and they'll push back against Turquoise up here, just north a little bit. But what was that plan that Red was devising inside of their capital, and they needed this major city to do it? But what plan inside of Red's capital would need this major city? The plan that Red devised would have soldiers go down the coastline, almost unseen. They will have to sneak around the capital and go up this eastern side. Once they're able to, they'll start spreading out even more, and when this happens, they actually just, it goes pretty well. Turquoise is going to try very, very hard. When I say very, very hard, I mean very, very hard to push back against Red. And they're going to do it just a little bit, not enough though. They're also going to do some stuff over here, but Red is actually going to overwhelm them and take back this area over here too. And we're going to see if doing this will change the war at all. Red is going to push back on these front lines, and they're going to be able to take back this major military base, and they'll push up through here, grabbing back this major city, and they'll do an encirclement here. It's probably not that many soldiers, but enough, to weaken them a little bit, and Red can just move forward on all fronts just a little bit. It won't give them any, like, major cities or major military bases or anything, but they'll push up a little bit. Qatar will take back this major military base, and they'll sweep down just a little bit further to make them have like a thicker front or whatever. And from up here, Red will send spies into Green, and they will learn that what their estimations and what? Red will soon learn that Green is actually aiding all of these rebellions, and the way that they knew that is because they took this eastern side of Turquoise. With this, they send spies down here, and they kind of just go through it. They go like unseen, they'll go like around here or something, I don't know. They'll probably go through here, and they'll reach into the capital, and they'll like be sneaky about it, and that is kind of the path of them, and that's just so that way they can figure out if Green is really aiding them. But now they know that this entire civil war, except for maybe Dark Cyan, because Dark Cyan wasn't actually aided by them because they can't really get aided, like it's kind of far. But Now they know that dark green was really aiding all of these countries all along. Now they know that what they need to do is get rid of these connections between these countries here. So the first thing they're going to do is just spearhead up through here, and it's going to be pretty good. They'll do a little bit, definitely on this eastern part. They'll take back a lot of land, and it's really good here. They'll reach up with this border again, and they'll enter into Qatar once again inside of this area, and they'll push back even further. And this spearhead will finally break through, and once again over here, this western front will collapse. Red will push back even further, and they'll reach up to this major military base right here, and they will split this into again, getting rid of this front over here. Qatar will surrender over to Red, and Red will give them the okay, which is really odd because I feel like knowing Red, they would probably want their land back, but I don't know, it's Red. But yeah, we're gonna take a break from here. Wait, what is this? Turns out there's a brand new rebellion on this eastern area, and these guys are kind of, I'll just call them light orange or whatever. And these guys formed for the exact same reason as all of these other ones, except they were just a lot later. They were kind of like late to the trend. But Red will immediately start pushing in as they're going to try and get rid of these guys so they don't have to deal with them for too long. Red is unsure if Green is aiding these guys or not, but either way, they're going to push up here and grab this major city, and they're going to form a little other spearhead right here to grab this major city, and they'll be able to grab back this major city, which was actually one of their first major cities, I think. And they'll also take this major military base. But these light orange folk will start pushing in, and they will push in hard, and they'll go up here to grab this major city, and they'll kind of circle around and kind of encircle these troops, get rid of them. These guys are gone now. These guys are gone now, and well, that wasn't too good. These turquoise guys will push back even further, and they'll get rid of all of red territory inside of them. Wait. They'll get rid of all red inside of them, and they'll start creeping up towards the capital. So it seems like red is screwed. Oh, okay. India has just now landed inside of this new rebellion and captured their capital. And oh, okay. Yeah, that's a pretty crazy campaign. Okay, so Red's able to push them back now because they're just too overwhelmed. So they'll take back this major city, and the front line will just disappear. Red will push in, they'll take back this major city, and they'll just push in even further. And India will clap in there and just take them over. And India will say the exact same thing as Blue, and this is them paying back some of their debt. So in the end, the front lines look a little bit like this. Red did less work, but they kind of just pushed them all the way back. But whatever. Germany decides to sign peace with their rebellions, and they'll start working up a peace treaty. So here's what the new peace treaty looks like, and I will explain it to you. Starting up here in Denmark, they got one province right here, and Germany got this province. But most notably, Germany got a lot more than they had invaded inside of the war. Inside of the real thing, Germany had only invaded up to about this line here, but they ended up taking all the way through here. Germany's excuse is that they got beaten pretty bad, and Denmark also backs with Germany, which is really weird. But at this point, they're just going to have to recombine with Germany because, they can't really function right now. So if they don't want to fall apart themselves and just turn into white on the map, they're going to have to unite with Germany. Meaning, in the end, they disappeared. So after this, Germany only split into two. Denmark and Germany. Denmark's capital will be up here, and it's not because they don't want it like next to Germany because they think that Germany will attack them again, but they just want it up here because they think they could get good trade in here with Norway. And if people were to move in like over here and there were like all this stuff through these straits and things, they could get a lot of money off of it and grow pretty prosperous. Inside of India, we see new rebellions pop up, and I know I kind of foreshadowed the Cyan one last episode when I said that it would suck if India lost these cities, but they just lost these cities and it sucks. But this one isn't really like the usual rebellion that I do. It looks more like a blob and it doesn't follow provinces. If you look here at the province map, it actually really doesn't follow the provinces, and that's because it more so follows culture, green culture. If you remember, India is kind of a mixing pot. You see, down here, they didn't have their own religion for a long time until just recently. And inside here is green religion. And who and inside of here is green culture. And who is supplying all of these people? Oh, this is really outdated. Jeez. Uh, who is supplying all of these rebellions? Green. And who just attacked what Green was trying to do? India. So that's why this protesting rebellion kind of started. It's a little bit violent, but not so violent. So we're just going to see how this plays out. So the first thing they'll do is kind of just have Red take over the rest of this area. It's pretty simple. They just didn't want to have to occupy it while they had to fight their own little civil war here. So India's gonna start by pushing up through here, and they're gonna kind of just wrap around. These guys are kind of easy to take out, except there's the major military bases, which are hard to get rid of. So they're gonna have to push in through here. They're gonna do a small encirclement of this city. So it's hard, but they're able to do like a half kind of encirclement because they're guarding this spot here really well. But they will just reach in and grab it all, take it over. India will kind of go around-ish, I guess, and go through there, and they will take over this major city, and they'll push down and kind of sweep and take over one new major military base, and these guys are pretty much already falling. But these guys are pretty strong, okay? So now we're seeing new, like, little rebellions of them pop up, and they're going to kind of combine a little bit, and we'll see another rebellion down here where the green culture is down here. Where is it? It's in a lot of needed areas. So we're gonna see these new little rebellions kind of pop up a little bit. And now there are new rebellions down here, which will also kind of like reach in for each other combined. These are military forces, just by the way, that are combining. So we're gonna see India try and push back, and they will. They'll do it pretty good. They're gonna take back this major military base, and they're gonna kind of sweep up the coast here a little bit and grab back this stuff. But these guys are going to do their work, and they're going to do a lot of their work, and they're going to grab this stuff over here, and they're going to do a massive encirclement. Actually, yeah, I don't know how many troops and stuff are in here, but there is a lot of supplies and little homes and little all that stuff. Northern Indian troops will push back down here and they'll sweep through. It'll be pretty good. And they'll finish off over here in Cyan, so these guys are gone. And they'll need to work on pushing against this other northern pink one, and they'll take back this major city, and they're kind of back to what they were originally, except now they're not, and they're doing a little encirclement over here, and they took that over, and now they're going around here, and they're approaching the burrows. What are they doing? How are they so good at this? So without any help at all, they're going to just push in through here. They have absolutely no help, by the way. Oh, looks like the burrows were taken over. Oh, looks like this entire area was taken over. So that's not good. I don't think they're being supplied, and if they were being supplied, I bet that they would be being supplied by Pink, who's currently in a war. India will push down the coastline here, taking back this major city, and they'll work to connect through here. And after that, it's actually pretty easy. So after they lose this eastern coastline, they're unable to reach waters, which I don't know why that would be important to them, but they're not able to reach the waters anymore, and they kind of just collapse inwards as India kind of does a massive encirclement, I guess. But now this southern problem is completely gone, and yeah. As you can see here, they're not completely gone yet. And what does India find? Green's second in command, as in Green's leader's second in command. Which means yes, Green also funded these rebellions. But now they know if they can get rid of the coastline or get rid of connections to Green, they can get rid of the rebellions easily. India wonders what exactly is happening up here then. How is Green able to reach them if there's no coast? Oh, wait. They just have a blank border right here, meaning Green can just like. Oh, okay. So India will push north as they can, as hard as they can, while over here they're pushing south and they'll grab a lot more stuff over here. And they're already working on a big encirclement right here. India will continue pushing in and they'll make it pretty far. Pink isn't done with their encirclement yet, but they are getting close to it. India has almost cut off the green guys from doing stuff, and they're actually really close. But then Pink finishes this encirclement, and this is just claimed over here. Yeah, it's not really that big of a deal. I think I made it sound like a pretty big of a deal, but it's not that big of a deal. Oh, there goes connections. Okay, that's fun. Uh, let's watch them fall even easier now. So India is going to push in from this west side, getting rid of where they originally were, and then they're going to push in from over here, taking back their boroughs and kind of just an encirclement of this northern borough right here. Northern encirclement of this northern borough and taking it back. And then they'll push down here to take these, like, not really boroughs, but kind of boroughs. And yeah, it's pretty easy after that. There's little spots that they just like separate. They'll split these guys in two. And once they're split in two, it kind of sucks for them because they can't really get it back. But India will continue pushing back against these guys until they completely fall over to India. They didn't last long, but they were a vital and very needed rebellion to save Red. How do they save Red, you may ask? Well, now Red knows exactly how to make Green not able to help these rebellions. In the peace treaty, it's pretty simple. That's part of India again. Red was already kind of doing the cutting off thing over here, but now they know to do it with Qatar, with all of these things. Red's gonna push up against the weakened turquoise, and they're gonna reach the border here, but they're not gonna push in. Odd. But now this entire army front line is separated, and they're gonna just kind of fall to. Oh, okay. But now that this entire front is taken, or not taken, separated from turquoise, they're kind of just gonna fall. And then green's gonna take some of it, which is really weird. Yep, that's right. Green's just gonna push in here and just take some stuff. They'll just go shopping or whatever. Red's gonna hop back into green for like the fifth time in this war, and they're gonna push up north here, and it's really good actually. And they're gonna push down here, and they're gonna meet up with pink again. From here, they're going to push in, and they'll capture back this major city, do an encirclement right there, and push pink back to their borders. Pink will not let them go into the borders, and that's actually what was happening up here with turquoise. But this eastern side will push west, and they'll take over the capital city, and from that, it will just fall over to red. So, probably one of the strongest, if not the strongest rebellion, will be the second rebellion to fall to red, showing that even if an outside country who's been around for years, so many years, is supplying you and aiding you, even if it will always still take strategy for you to win. Red will continue pushing up against green, and this is like hot deserty areas, and there's a giant encirclement over here. That's crazy. That's gone. Oh, right, and so is this southern area because, that's just like not reaching green anymore. Red's gonna push up through this northern area and create a massive spearhead going up north, and it's pretty successful to be honest. This entire eastern side is gone. Yeah. Green is going to have to pull back all of their troops. Not all of their troops. They're still going to stay inside of red territory a little bit. But they're going to have to pull back a lot of them, and they're going to even lose a few major cities, only keeping 2. Red will push further into Qatar, capturing a new major city. They'll push up this northern part, and they'll sweep down. They'll push back against green in this southern area. They'll enter into pink again and cut off a piece, and that basically just makes this part fall. Red will form a spearhead going up north, aiming straight for Qatar's capital. Red will form another spearhead going straight for Green's capital. Red will go through the rest of Pink Northern Territory and start going down the coastline, aiming for Pink's capital. It seems that Red is finally winning again, but at what cost? After this entire civil war, they have dropped from one of the most powerful economic wise and military wise and stableness down to one of the lowest, and not lowest, of course, but very, very low compared to what they used to be. They're no longer in the top 10. In fact, I'd say they're in 11th place. Qatar's capital falls. Red will be able to push back in, but at what cost? They're finally winning again. Red will finally start winning again, but at what cost? They've lost stability, military, time, and they went from one of the most powerful countries in the entire world, probably number 2 or something, all the way down to 11th place or so. And just like that, Red will fully take over the capital of Qatar. They will encircle and take over Green's capital, and they will finish off Pink's capital. Just like that, every single rebellion has now been fully taken over, or their capital has been taken. That means that every single country has surrendered. And let's take a look at this peace treaty. Inside of this peace treaty, we see a lot of things. So, starting off simple, dark cyan in this light orange color team were completely wiped off the map, so we can get rid of their capitals. Boop, boop. Over here in pink, they lost 3 provinces up here, just like this, and that was with those 3 major cities. Green obviously lost a lot of land, but it was all taken over, and it was also all, just Saudi Arabia desert area, but their capital was also taken, so they're going to have to move that, and they're going to move that to this city. We can also say goodbye to Turquoise's capital, and Qatar lost a few provinces down south, but they gained some up north. So yes, in the end, Red did win. But at what cost? They've lost so much. They've lost people. They've lost morale. They've lost military. They've lost so many assets. And they hold a very large grudge against Green. And don't forget about the alliances. But that will wrap up Red's Civil War. And let's take a look at what this new stuff that I added, because this is the second half of my recording. So there is a few new things that I added, so let me talk about that. The first thing I added were regions and regional capitals. So it's basically regions are just a bunch of provinces jumbled together. And then regional capitals are like the capital of that region. So think of each region as a U.S. state and the capital as the capital of that state. So here you can see that the regions follow the provinces. I also added a base of operations, which is basically one of the major military bases, except it's that country's base of operations. Some countries, like Red here, may have multiple, and also, if one of them is taken, that's very bad for that country. One thing we've already had was trade routes, but now I have added international trade routes. And the way you can see which one is international and which one is just a normal trade route is by looking at the thickness. So you can see here the thicker one is an international trade route, and the thinner one is just a trade route. So the international trade routes run all along the world, all the way through from South Korea, all the way over here to West Africa. Another thing, but probably the most exciting thing that I added, was a stability map and a technology map. Over here in a stability map, the more green that you are, the better you are. So, for example, over here, Rome, they are dark green. They are very stable. And then cyan right here, they're lime. They're stable, but they're not as stable as Rome. Then after that, we would move over to someone like Red, who's yellow. And yellow is like neutral midpoint. The Nile is also dark green. And then the next level is orange, for example, pink. They are not so stable, but they're able to run as a country. Then over here we have green, and these guys are not so stable, and yeah, it's red. And there aren't any on this map right now, but if there is a dark red, that would mean that you are in the process. And there aren't any on this map right now, but if you have a dark red color, that means you are literally collapsing right now. And then the next thing is a technology map. So purple, or Rome over here. And then the next thing is a technology map. Purple having the highest technology, so that's Rome, red, and India. Dark blue having very high technology, so that's blue, and the Nile. And then blue having okay, it's the normal technology. Lime is below average, and then we don't have any, but dark green would be, and then we don't have any, but dark green would be low technology, and yellow would be the lowest technology, so that's like sticks and stones. And just an FYI, this is based off of the era, so obviously these guys don't have time travel or anything, but the technology here is based off of this era, so they have the highest technology of the ancient era. And speaking of the ancient era, this is coming to an end soon, which means that my first mini movie will be coming out containing all of these episodes. And then we're going to start up on the medieval era, so that's fun. But we're going to go back over here and look back into Germany. Germany's been rebuilding, and they're actually going to expand now, which is really weird of them because I feel like wouldn't they not want to expand, thinking that they would, like, I don't know, lose land or something or go into another civil war? Well, no, because they're actually kind of ready to do it, and they're going to move actually a little bit inland. Germany's going to add all of this land, and let's add some other stuff to it. And Germany's expanse will look like this. Let's look at post-Civil War Red. Red is rebuilding all around their country, especially in the areas that were taken by these rebellious groups. India starts funding Red again, and they'll send some other stuff to Red to help them out, and Blue will do the same. We also see Rome and the Nile also sending supplies and other things into Red's territory to help them out. And we see Mesopotamian Lime sending bits and pieces of supplies to Red. Obviously, it's not bits and pieces, but like it's not as much as anyone else's. So yeah, how's Red? Oh, what the heck? Oh, looks like Red's gonna need to fight back against another rebellious threat. Red's gonna push in. They're gonna start trying to get back to this major city right here because, as we know, that is a regional capital. In fact, they lost two other regional capitals up here, and they're gonna start pushing in around this place. But their first front is going to keep on pushing up, and they're going to be pretty successful down here. In fact, they're going to like encircle a bit and get rid of it. And they're almost at this capital, and they're like on the gates. And up north, they enter into the gates and start working on taking it back, which they do. And then they hop to this major city, then this one. But these guys will push back, and they'll take back all of what Red just took back themselves, in fact, even more, and they'll take this regional capital, this major city up north, and then they'll start going for these ones all the way up here. So, how are they doing this again? Well, Red over here suspects something. And that is because this rebellious group shares a small but existent border with Green. Red will continue pushing in, and they'll take back this regional capital, and they'll continue pushing in down south here. They'll push in through here from the west, and they'll have about half this major city under their control again. And they'll push in around this encirclement, and they're able to take back this major city and get rid of those troops there. They push in and take this major city, and they take this one, and they're working on cutting off this group over here, which they do successfully do that, which allows this group to push in and take back the regional capital, and then they can continue focusing in on the mainland here. Red will push in through this area, taking back this major city, and now they're at the sprouts of the Mesopotamian waters. They'll keep on going in, and they'll send a lot of troops, but they are eventually going to wear themselves out if they have to keep on fighting back against these rebellions. They're going to push in and take this major city, except not all of it, just most of it, and they'll continue pushing it over here, and they're gonna cut off this group from Green. This group will disappear. Red didn't even fight these guys, they just disappeared. And now Red is gonna continue pushing in. Red's gonna go in through here, and they're gonna capture this major city, major regional capital, and they're going to continue pushing in. They'll take back all this stuff, and they're just going to collapse. So Red is weaker than before, but they are far more strategic. If this were to happen before that entire civil war, they could have easily just like smushed those guys immediately, but they are weakened, but they have gained a lot more strategy when it comes to fighting. And that was just like a late rebellion, just like that eastern one that happened over here. Let's continue with the Caucasian War, and we're gonna see Pink push in just a little bit, and they'll start taking over some major cities in this area, and they're gonna start like encirclement of this regional capital, and that's gonna have these guys get pulled out. They're gonna have to pull these guys out, and they're not gonna fully go away. In fact, no, they are gonna go fully away. But that does help push back a little bit over here. They're going to be able to take back one major city, but that's about it for the western side. And they'll push in on the eastern side and take back a major city. And now what they're going to do is kind of push in from the here like this. I don't know what they're trying to do here, but the Pink's taking over this major whatever regional capital, and Pink is going to continue pushing in through here, and Maroon's going to push back a little bit on the sides. Actually, that was a lot, but Lime now ready to fight. They are going to go west, and they're going to go down this like line of coastal cities, but they're also going to go east, aiming for the capital. Maroon is going to push back on them, but it's really hard for Maroon because they're fighting two of the strongest other countries in this war. So it's pretty hard on them. And they're going to be able to take back one major city, which was actually two major cities, and three major cities. Okay, and oh, their green lime's gone. Okay, dark blue's going to keep on pushing in through here. Oh, that's too far. Dark blue's gonna keep on pushing in through here, and they're gonna start approaching the major city. I bet they're in the metro. I bet they're in the metropolitan area at this point. I don't know if that's a thing yet. Oh, I see what Maroon was doing now. Okay, so they encircled this area to block off their supply lines, and that kind of just, well, they kind of have to fall apart after that. Maroon's gonna push in down east or west to take those stuff, and they're gonna start sweeping down east, and they'll take over one new major city by sweeping, two actually, and three, and they'll push in normally this time, and they'll start going down through this way, and they'll actually do a lot over here. Pink will push in again, and they'll capture this regional capital, and they'll start making another spearhead to go towards this area again. They'll go down here, and they'll just like spread out, I guess, a little bit. They'll focus up north though, because that's where the capital is, and they'll encircle all this. Pretty nice. That's a lot of land now that they have. Maroon's looking back to take back what? Maroon's looking to take back some of the land that they lost from Lime, so they're going to push in, and they'll actually take back some land. They'll also have to push back on this because this is massive. Yep, pretty massive. They're going to push in, and they'll take back two major cities that they lost, and they'll start working on this third. Did they take back three? Two. I don't know. But they're actually going to also push into dark blue, I think. Dark blue, and they're gonna actually kind of almost help dark blue, I think, in a way. They're gonna get rid of pink. Does that help them? I don't know. And they're gonna form a spearhead, a small spearhead, only size 5 brush, and they're gonna start going towards this major city. Pink is just gonna say screw it, and they'll pull out. But that is just so that way they can defend over here, because Dark Blue is approaching their capital and fast. They've already started the encirclement of it, but they haven't captured it yet. They haven't captured it yet. What? Maroon is going to keep on pushing in through here, and they'll capture two new major cities, and they're doing a really good job down here. What is Pink doing? Just Maroon will form another like small spearhead to grab this major city, and Maroon will form another small spearhead to go and grab this major city and this major city, and that will be an encirclement over here. Yeah, they're gonna go down south here to capture this major city, and they're gonna reach over here. And what is Pink do? Oh, okay. So it seems that Dark Blue has taken over their capital and another regional capital, and they're pushing down the coast to these other regional capital. Okay. Pink is getting absolutely beat. What the heck? I'm just gonna push back against Maroon just a little bit though. And it's their time to shine, they say. It's like it's our time to shine, and they're gonna push in, and they'll immediately capture Dark Blue's capital. Okay. Seems all of their army was down there in pink, and there goes their northern half, and there goes their regional capital. Oh, looks like they have one major city left, which is no longer existent inside of their occupation. This gives Pink the chance to fight back, and fight back they do. They push them all the way back, really far back, like really far back. Okay, they're out of their territory now. Okay. Oh, Pink is inside of their territory. Okay. Pink is now pushing into Dark Blue, who is actually just really non-existent at this point. They're just getting it for land. They're gonna push up against Maroon's claims, and they're gonna fight Maroon's claims. Okay. Maroon is practically fully kicked out now, and they're gonna push all the way up, and they're also going to fight Lime's claims. Okay. So seems that Lime doesn't get to do much until they decide to push back against Pink, and they push him back pretty far. Yeah, everyone's just having fun inside of Blue's territory, except Blue's territory is completely gone now, just by the way. They're gonna push in, and they're gonna kick Pink fully out, and in fact, they're gonna start attacking Pink too. They're gonna land inside of Pink, and they're gonna make a hop, skip, and a jump over to the capital, and they're gonna capture this regional capital, and then they'll do a giant encirclement of the metropolitan area. I think is that counted as metropolitan? I don't know. Maroon's gonna be able to push all the way back against Pink over here, and this is a crazy 4-front war. Honestly, it's more of 3 fronts now. I don't know. But there goes all of Pink's claims inside of occupations inside of Maroon. What? Maroon's gonna keep pushing up against Lime, but Lime is going to push back, and they're gonna actually take back this major city while they're at it. And they're gonna take all of this land that Maroon took from Dark Blue, and they're gonna take it for themselves. And they're also gonna spill into Pink a little bit, take over this weird panhandle that they have. I don't even know why they have it. Maroon's gonna spill into the east, and they're gonna capture a little bit of land here. And this is like a really weird war, so I'm gonna step out of it for a little bit. Germany's being pretty chill. So is India. And so is Spain. Oh, never mind. Spain is not feeling normal today. Spain takes almost all of the Iberian Peninsula, and they are massive. This is the first time they've expanded since their colonial era. Colonial? Is that even counted as colonial? I don't think so. But they are pretty massive now, and there's not that much room left here in Europe. There's only inland here, there's only this spot, and then Eastern Europe. So Western Europe is pretty much almost filled in. And this is what all of Spain's stuff looked like. We will also see Wales take over all of Ireland. This is Wales, I think. And the next thing that we see is a little bit unexpected, or at least I hope, because I don't think this was expected at all. And it is Wales combining with Eastern Scotland, so they're just uniting under one flag. Yeah, that's about it. Over here, we're gonna see Norway explore a lot. So like they're gonna explore pretty far up here. So they're gonna reach all the way up to here, and then they're also gonna hop over here and find this area. They're gonna explore around the coast, and they're gonna make it into St. Petersburg and like Estonia region. Then they'll make it into explored lands, and then they'll be like, "Whoa, holy crap, guys!" And yeah, they're explorers, you know. They're exploring a lot of exploring stuff, you know. Hey, mate. And then they're gonna expand a lot. So this is like a lot, a lot. It's not that much actually. Oh yeah, they also found this island. I forgot to say that. And this is what their major military bases and major cities look like. And since I don't feel like it, I'm not doing the regions and provinces right now. Yep, I can do that. Sucks to suck, guys. Over here in Asia, we're going to see Vietnam expand. And once again, no, I am not doing the provinces. Sucks to suck. Sucker. I spent like 2 days redrawing this freaking map because I got like a weird save file bug. So I lost my save file. And then I had to like redraw it. So I had like the episode 5 map and I had to redraw everything that happened in episode 6. And then I also added regions and then regional capitals and then international trade route. And then international trade routes. So like I really don't want to draw anymore. And that's all the land that Vietnam takes. And, Vietnam's pretty chill right now, they're just chilling. Oh, and they're also exploring, they're exploring pretty good. They're having a lot of fun exploring. Okay, you guys can chill on the exploring. So this isn't just Vietnam exploring, obviously. There's other countries involved in this, like India, Blue, and Korea. So this isn't just Vietnam exploring, but it's a lot of Vietnam, They had a population boost, I hear. I don't know how they did it. They probably just like reproduced a lot and had a lot of kids. But now most of populated China is actually probably all of populated China is explored. Most of it. This might make it all of it actually right here. No, but this is a lot of populated China, and so is a lot of Korea explored. They're going into Russia a little bit over here. They're going east a little bit. They're forming like a spearhead going east. Yep. So the explorers are attacking east. They're gonna go attack the Himalayas. Korea will also explore into all of mainland Japan, and they'll also touch up a little bit on this northern island here, and they'll go around the coast a little bit. They'll go around the coast a little bit. Taiwan was found, guys. Taiwan was found. And that's what Vietnam looks like. Pretty cool. How'd you know that Korea would expand next? Well, where do you think they'll expand? I'll let you guess. Are they either going to become North and South Korea, or are they going to become Korea and Japan? Well, if you guessed North and South Korea, you are wrong because they're going to expand into Japan. Except, god dang, mainland Japan doesn't have any real little, rivers for me to follow frickin' borders on, so I have to frickin' frickin' frickin'. And they're pretty greedy with it. They'll take a little bit of that, It's obviously nowhere near as much as Vietnam did. Like they're crazy. They're on something. They're also gonna take this island, right here. This island. Keep that in mind. It's very important. It will be nuked one day. I promise you. Speaking of it being nuked one day, there's gonna be a major city right there. And they're gonna sprinkle some major cities around here. They're gonna have some fun with it. They're gonna go over here. They're gonna create one right here. They're gonna put one on this island. You know, they're pretty cool. They're gonna create some good looking major cities. Korea is forming to be a very strong little place. You know, whack 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 whack. Oh, right, and whack. And one last whack for measures. Whack. Let's head back over into the scary Caucasian front. Let's head back over into the scary Caucasian front. Up here in the north, we're going to see pink push back against maroon, and they're going to move in and capture this again. So this is really just a back and forth. And there's a lot of major military bases right here because, you know, Maroon literally just placed all of them along their border. But they're going to continue pushing in. They'll capture this major city. And they're going to go straight for the capital now. Straight towards it. And of course, since they're going to need to get their capital back, if they want to capture another capital pretty easily, they're going to have to capture back, which they do. They do that, and they do a little bit more here. I don't know what else they would do in this situation. Like, they aren't going to obviously move into here. Oh, no, they are going to move into here. Okay. So they're going to move into here, and it's probably not going to be fully taken over by them. No, it's fully taken over by them. And Lime also loses their claims over here, and now they're invading into Lime as well. That's not good. Rome is gonna step in and say, "Hey, you guys need to stop. What are you doing? Just stay at peace, or like do something else." And they're gonna say, "No, screw you, Rome." And Rome is gonna sit over here in a corner and cry. They're gonna continue pushing back against Maroon's gonna continue pushing back against pink, and they're gonna capture back one major city, and they're gonna go down the western side and just like sweep, 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 sweep the dust through. What? And they're gonna try and go over here. They're gonna capture all these stuff, and then Pink is gonna get really mad and be like, "We're having a divorce." No, I'm kidding. But Pink is gonna push in through here, and they're gonna capture all that stuff back, and then they're gonna have like some fun, and they're gonna go like this. They're gonna go like this, and they're gonna just explode and just boom shakalaka. Are the cannons yet? There's no cannons yet. They're gonna just spearhead, woohoo! And oh, looks like they're back in the Mediterranean. Okay, and there goes the southern half and this northern half. Okay, and there goes all of the Mesopotamian area that freaking Maroon has, and they're gonna continue pushing up north. Okay, there goes their thing there, and there goes the western side. It's pretty easy to capture that now. There goes a few of those. There goes that southern part, and there goes a lot of stuff. Looks like the tables have turned, guys. It's pretty crazy. Lime's gonna push back against Maroon here, and then this claim, I don't even know how they still have that. That was probably gone a while ago. But Maroon is now going to push back again. Whoa. Maroon is now going to push back against Pink because they're going to have to push back against Pink. It's their ex, you know. They got a divorce. But they're going to sweep down. Sweep, sweep, sweep. They're going to sweep. They're going to become a janitor. And they're going to take back their Mediterranean area. And then they're going to start hopping over here into this area of Mediterranean that Pink has. And they're going to just claim over here because they have Navy, of course. They've been working up on their Navy ever since frickin' this happened over here with Lime. And Pink is gonna have to pull out, like all the way out. All the way out. And you wanna know why? Their capital is gone yet again, and yet again it's to Lime, and yet again they lost all of their claims over here in dark blue. What is happening, guys? Red and green, who are somehow on okay terms, are gonna go, yo, we should probably step in, but like they're not 100% sure, so they're just not gonna step in yet. They're thinking about it. They're thinking about it. They have a border with Pink, and they could just walk right through there and be like, yo, stop. Pink is going to push back. They're not going to take back their capital, but they're able to get a part back of the Caspian, which is really weird that they're able to just. Oh right, there's water here, so they could just go through there with their navy. Ah, that's funny. And they're gonna push back in through here. And at this point, everyone's pissed. Frickin' red, frickin' green, frickin' Rome, frickin' Cyan's actually probably not pissed. Frickin' Nile. Frickin' yeah. Everyone's pissed. So they're gonna be like, guys, stop. And at that point, they're gonna be like, Okay. Jeez, I'm acting them out. Okay. So, lime, maroon, and pink will all declare peace, and they'll look at what they're going to do for this peace treaty. Because all of these countries just were like, stop, and they don't want to continue that because they think they're going to get jumped by all these guys. Anyway, let's take a look at what happens here. And this is what the peace treaty looks like. Yes, dark blue is no longer around. Yes, lime took only one province out of pink. And yes, pink only lost land. They are the strongest one out of all these guys, and they just got ran over by them. They lost their Mediterranean access, which is now maroon land, and, well, they lost a province and a major city to lime. And they were the strongest one, but, geez, now they're not the strongest one. Actually, well, they're probably still pretty strong. But how'd they just get jumped so easily if they're so strong? Honestly, I have no idea, but they did, so screw you. Back in red, we're not going to see another rebellion. But back in red, we're going to see them tense up their borders, especially with green. Make sure that they have patrol units in the water to make sure that, green doesn't go through the water to start finding this guy to explode and take over all of red, and boom, and now the map looks like this. Whoa, I do not like that map. I don't like it. But red is going to make sure that nothing bad happens, like what just happened, ever again. And red survived, but now the world is in so much deeper chaos. We're going to start off over here in Europe. We haven't started over here in a while, I don't think. But we're going to start off over here in the Alpine region, where we see some French guys go in here, and they're going to explore a little bit. They're able to get a little bit into the Alps, obviously not too far, but this will kind of jump up the wanting to get into the Alps for some other countries. So we see Cyan explore a little bit, and Rome will explore a little bit, but that's all. We're also going to see a new country form over here. The backstory behind this, there's not really a backstory. Norway is a little bit behind. They should have expanded last episode. Is the title the same? Nice. Yo! Norway should be expanded, just ignore that. But these guys were collections from all of the people inside of these three countries. Yes, three, these two united last episode. But some people over here are not liking the tensions between these guys, so they're going up here to get to this, like, little bit of a safe haven. I guess not really safe haven, but, like, less conflict haven. We'll call it that. And speaking of conflicts over here, we're going to see a conflict. Pretty ironic, I know, but we're going to see this little Welsh country attack Northern England. It's pretty simple. They're gonna go in here and they're gonna grab at the capital, but these guys aren't going to surrender because I'm pretty sure they have major cities somewhere. Yeah, they have two major cities. One is taken over, but their other major city is up here in the north, and that is actually going to give them a little bit of like a place to be. They're going to fight back. They're going to grab this major city, and it's going to be like a little bit of an east-west type thing. But these guys will push towards this major city, and they will push back against these guys, and we're going to see them surrender. So they're gone. For now, at least. Let's look at this peace treaty. Inside of this peace treaty, we see this northern English country fully disappear. I don't really like the color of this country. I might change it up a little bit. Is that better? I can't tell. I think we'll just keep it like this for now. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a different color. I could try it out. We'll see. But the next thing we'll see happening is another country will be forming, and this time it is in Catalonia, but it's like northern Catalonia. It's just this entire white area right here. So yeah, they're going to exist here, and they're also going to own these islands, which is pretty cool. If I can get the tolerance right, they'll own the islands. There we go. Their capital will be right over here on this eastern side, and they'll have a few major cities gathered around. But this northern Catalonian country will look like this. They're pretty cool. Oh, their northern Catalonian country thing will look like this. It looks pretty good, I think. We're filling in Europe soon. I mean, obviously, Central Europe is nowhere near full, but Western Europe is actually completely full, unless you're counting, like, this area as Western Europe. Norway, which is actually much bigger, will explore more and more of this Norwegian peninsula, and they will make it up to the Arctic Circle, and they will inform the rest of Europe about a new ocean up here. And some people will be like, okay, it's a little cold, so we're not going to go there. But they'll explore the rest of Finland, so that's pretty cool. Obviously, not the rest of Finland, more of the more livable area of Finland, and they will also explore into the rest of the Baltic country region. And that's what they'll explore. I'm gonna have them expand now because they should have been expanded. But since they're actually just about to expand right now, I'll just have them expand like this. So yeah, Norway will look like this after expanding, and I know they're getting pretty dang big, but they haven't really done anything the entire series, so that's kind of evening out. We are also going to see a few border disputes between Catalonia and Spain, and these are the border disputes Spain lays claim over them, but in reality, Catalonia really is the owner of these lands because they were here first. Inside of northern Africa, there's going to be a lot more exploration. Obviously, they can't go too far, else they'll reach into the Sahara, but we'll see the Nile explore a little bit into the Sahara. And we will also see some exploration over here. They'll figure out how to get around these mountains, these Moroccan mountains, and, well, surely but slowly, the Sahara is being filled in from the north. We're also going to see a new country form up here in northern Africa. And just by the way, I changed the color of blue because they looks too much like the ocean, so this is the same blue as before, just by the way. Green is going to add some new major cities around their land. They've been working on this for a long time, actually. But they haven't actually executed it yet, so we're going to see them execute it right now. And they look like this. We're also going to see Blue explore much, much further into the Africa than they ever have, except they're going to miss out on some stuff down south because of the Ethiopian mountains, I think. But they're going to be able to expand, or not expand, explore a little bit more west into Africa. And Africa is slowly but surely being further discovered. We're also going to see the Sudanese country exist now, and they are immediately going to have very close relations with Red. The first thing that they do is they join Red's economic alliance. Yep, that's right. And the next thing that we see is a leaving, and it is Blue leaving Red's military alliance. The reason that they leave, they say, is because they are a neutral country, and yes, they in fact are a very neutral country. They don't really like wars and stuff. But this little new Sudanese country will make their capital right next to Red, or at least as close to Red as they can make it, being right here. For their major cities, a lot of them will be placed along the Nile, aka pretty far away from their capital, but that's okay. They also have a lot along the coast and a few next to the capital. This has been over the course of many, many years, but India expands like this, and they've been doing this for a long, long time. So, no, this isn't all just at once. But for major cities, they will look like this, and I don't know if India has too many major cities for this age, but I'm just going to say that they don't because I don't want to have to erase major cities. I forgot this country, but their capital is right here. Over here in the Middle East, we have many, many problems, specifically with the main aggressors in this area: Red, Green, and Pink. Pink is mostly mad at Red because they stepped into their war, which they could have won, but instead they lost land access to the Mediterranean and a major city up north. They could have gotten all of Dark Blue, and heck, probably a lot of these two countries, but instead Red stepped in while they were losing the war, and they were like, hey, stop this, guys. And Green is mad at Red for stealing these Mesopotamian lands way back when. Yes, they still are mad about that. And Pink and Green, which were actually on opposite sides of the war last time there was a rivalry or conflict between these three, are going to be against Red, both of them. And obviously, India is going to be with with Red against Green and Pink because, well, they're in the same military alliance. But over here, we also see Morocco is inside of Green's military alliance, and Spain is going to join Red's military alliance because they are afraid that, well, they are afraid that Morocco might go in and attack them at some point, so they're going to join Red's military alliance for protection. Red is mad at Green for funding rebellions, and Red is mad at Pink because, Pink was mad at them, so they're just, mad at them as well. But the final straw is when Pink joins Green's military alliance. This was not something Red was expecting nor wanted, and now Red and India are going to declare war on Green and Pink, which also means that this conflict over here will be happening, so that's like a second theater. But that's not the only thing that is happening over in Caucasia, because we're going to see Orange rebellions. If you remember Orange from episode 1 or 2, they were originally this entire area, but then there was a bunch of different rebellions, making Pink, Maroon, lime, and then later on making dark blue. And some people are kind of wanting orange to come back. If we look at the religion map, which is very outdated, and I'm probably not going to use it for a long time, but they do have orange religion over here, and a lot of people inside of lime and maroon are wanting orange to come back. Inside of lime, we're going to see an orange rebellion pop up over here, and this is like a big rebellion. But then inside of maroon, we're going to see more orange rebellions, but these ones are like smaller and stuff. So we see multiple pockets of orange rebellions break out over here. And this is not so good for maroon because these are pretty highly populated areas. Scratch that, this rebellion is not happening over here, but instead it will be happening up north. So we see lime have this rebellion up here instead of over here. But we're going to see how this rolls out. So now we have two little things happening in this area. Two big things, actually. Two big things are happening in this area. One is these orange rebellions, and then the second thing is this giant war. So I know this seems like a lot to look at, but just bear with me, okay? Red is going to push in and grab this major city, and Red is going to push in and grab this major city, and they're going to push up north a little bit, aiming for this regional capital. If they capture regional capital, that will suck for the whole entire country. Okay. Pink is also going to push in on the eastern side, and they're going to kind of just like do this. It's a pretty good offensive. It's a smaller front. I mean, actually, this might be bigger. We're also going to see green push in, which you could barely see green. We're also going to see green push in, and they're going to be grabbing a major city and a few major military bases in the area, but mainly they're going to grab a regional capital. Over here in India, they're going to push in, and they're going to sweep down through this like little area over here, and they're going to take over a lot of land, specifically all the way up till here. We also see a bunch of naval battles happening throughout like this entire area, like just like this. We're gonna see green jump into Qatar and capture them, which is an odd choice, but it may be so that way they can go into red's capital by land. However, before green can do anything, Red is going to push in back into Qatar so that way they can take over this land to make sure that, Green can't do what they're trying to do. So Green is kicked out of Qatar before they're in Qatar. So that sucks. Red is going to push down this Mesopotamia area, and they're going to grab a lot of this stuff. They're going to do a big encirclement over here. Encirclement, not really, but it is a circlement, I guess. They're going to push down the Tigris, I think, and they're going to meet up over here, and now this area is cut off from the rest of the country, and they're going to make this line thicker so that way it is even harder to get back. They're finally going to close in, and this entire area is now gone, and it's under red occupation. Pink is going to push in even further over here, and they're going to meet up with the front line of green, and they're also going to reach over to this Mesopotamia area, but they aren't able to do too much because they also have to go over here and defend, which they do a little bit. But they're going to have to move back down here as now red is pushing all the way in. You can see how confusing this war is because there's many, many fronts. Yeah, red's going to push into pink occupation land, and they're going to take back a lot of stuff. They're not going to be able to take back this major city, but we do see all this happen, and India is going to get pushed back just a little bit. They're only going to lose this regional capital. Red is going to finally win these naval battles, and they're going to hop over here and capture Green's capital and their base of operations. But Green is going to withstand this and survive, and they're not going to surrender. But after that, we're going to see them get pushed back over here a lot easier, almost all the way back, actually, all the way back to their border a little bit. And red is going to push in again, and they're gonna like kind of spill in, and they'll just explode. They'll grab this major city, and it is when it's at that point that these guys are gonna have to push back or pull out, and instead pink will occupy this area, and they'll not be able to occupy this area, and then they'll immediately just fall over to red and collapse. Red is going to start pushing in through here, and we're seeing this other side, green and pink, losing this war. Over here, we see Spain hop into Morocco and take their capital, but that doesn't last long as Morocco pushes back in and they start taking over Spain's land. It doesn't last, it doesn't go so well for Spain as they lose a lot of land, but that's when they finally lock in and they push them back like a lot. And right now, it's a bit of a stalemate, but they do go over here and capture this stuff in the east. Red is going to put all of their main forces on this line, as they have been training these guys for a while, because they knew that something like this would be coming, and they're going to push, just like sweep down here. This countryside is going to be cut off from the rest of the country, which doesn't make much sense, but trust me, it does. And slowly but surely, this side will all fall over to red. And in fact, there will be a bit of a rebellion for red, and red will go over there and take it, splitting these guys in two, and red will just take it all. Pretty simple, but that does give red a spot to hop in and start attacking green. So red is going to push in through here, and it's not going to go so well for green. And this small part over here is going to get encircled and taken over, and so will this like countryside area. Red's gonna push up against pink, who probably already are like, yeah, we're gonna lose this war, but obviously they're not gonna say that because that will just invoke chaos. But once these three cities over here are taken, pink will surrender. Just kidding, they're not surrendering. But they are probably going to have to surrender soon, because, oh, there goes their capital, and now they'll surrender. And just like that, one of the strongest countries in the world has been fully taken over. That's not so good. India is going to keep on pushing in to green, and they should probably surrender soon. I don't know when they will. They're probably going to do it soon. Once red reaches up here and fills this area in, they're going to surrender. And just like that, we see the other side, red and India, win. Although over here in Europe, the battles are not just yet over, as Morocco pushes back against Spain, and now the battles are yet over, as they are both going to leave the military alliance, because everyone else on the military alliance for Morocco is gone, and Spain, having Morocco leave, does not have the need to be inside of the alliance. So just like that, we're going to see them both leave. Whoa. But let's take a look at this peace treaty. The peace treaty will look like this. Yes, pink is fully annexed, and green is actually not supposed to be fully annexed. Hold on. Here we go. This is what the actual thing looks like. And in the end, pink was fully annexed. Green was like, kind of really all their good stuff was annexed. And in the end, red became like double in size. And India didn't really double in size. They gained a little bit of land. But they also didn't really do much, so that's fair. Blue and red are about to do border adjustments. Is this because I don't like their borders? Maybe. I swear it isn't. But they're going to readjust their borders because they don't like it. That's it. Alrighty, there we go. And don't you just see how much better that looks, you know? So yeah, they just did a border rework. These capitals should not exist anymore. Lime and red start talking about potentially unifying in the future, however, not just yet. And we're going to see lime and maroon surrender over to these rebellions, and let's look at what they look like. And this is what the final border is looking like. We get the green, and then we get this gold team. They're basically both just orange. But, yeah. This next event will change the world forever. All across the world, from Korea to India to the Nile to Spain, all the way up to Norway, even in the undiscovered Americas, the ground is shaking. And then, all of a sudden, all across the entire world, we see a catastrophic event change the world forever. All across the world, there are floods. Whether it's miniature, giant, or medium-sized, it still happens. All over the world, we see floods. Devastating floods. Floods in the Strait of Gibraltar, in the Netherlands, in Mesopotamia and the Persian Gulf, in the Nile, over here in Mesopotamia Lime, across India, over here in Bangladesh, near Korea. But the most devastating floods are next to the powers. Rome loses its capital. Red loses its capital. India loses its capital. Oh, and blue loses a bit of stuff over here. How can the world recover from this? Well, I don't know. And that's because the ancient era is over, and so is this episode. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have loved the series so far. It has been so much fun to record and edit. Actually, editing's not so fun, but whatever. Thank you guys so much for subscribing, liking my videos, and commenting. And make sure to comment down any ideas that you have for the medieval era, because that's coming next. Medieval era. Yep, that's right. I hope you guys are excited as I am, because it's going to be coming up really soon. And this world is getting pretty old, you know? Crazy to think that we started off all the way over here. Oh, yeah, right. This place also flooded. Crazy to think that we also started out in a flooded place now. But thank you guys so much for watching my series, and I hope you guys are having a merry holidays or whatever is happening right now when I upload this. I don't know. I'm recording this on like December 26th or something. But thank you so much for watching my video and my series. And daily upload week is starting today. Expect videos to come out until Saturday every single day. The mini movie for this entire series will be coming out on Monday. And the re-recorded episode 1 will come out tomorrow. And the only reason I'm re-recording it is because, number one, I kind of hate episode 1 right now as it is. If you go check it out, it kind of sucks. But also for lore reasons, I'm re-recording it. Yes, there is lore. I can confirm. But thank you so much for watching my video, and make sure to comment down any ideas or anything you have to say. And make sure to like, subscribe, and until next time, see ya!